By the way, I got this layout about 2 seconds before I got here.
No, it was 3 hours.
But I'm pretty good at improv. Perfect.
There you go. That's all this is about.
Perfect.
Well, we can thank Rob for that because he's
How do I sound?
very good at shit.
You sound awesome. Sound good. All right.
Before we start the episode, I want to thank all listeners for presenting on us on the Happy Halloween episode.
Did you say resenting you?
No, presenting. Oh. I know. I'm very tired. Hello, everyone.
Check.
Welcome to another episode of Untitled Car Project. I am one of your hosts, Ian Fike.
I am the spooky host, Grant Gonzalez.
Jeremy Molt.
And tonight we have a very, very special guest. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Vinny Gambardella. That's it.
Yeah, boy.
Vinny's up in this mix.
Yay.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you here, bro.
Yay.
Thank you for having
We're
me,
very,
guys.
very happy. So we want to start out with some very basic questions.
Can I just start before something like that?
Oh.
I'm the only one on this episode who's actually wearing a costume today.
He's
No,
right.
you didn't tell anybody to dress up.
Shouldn't have to be known if it's Halloween.
It's not.
Halloween's
It's
tomorrow.
It's Devil's
Oh.
Night.
Yeah.
That was kind of implied.
No.
No.
I'm dressed
I
up.
actually...
There you
I'm
go.
dressed up as a professional that shows up to work and has his life together.
There you
Same
go.
with me.
And I'm dressed up as a hobo.
Hobo.
I am I'm surprisingly, everyone would think I'd be in a dinosaur costume, but I'm not.
No, and I gotta say, Grant, your outfit is superb, dude.
I thought it was
Thank
your
you.
suit looks fantastic.
It's very
Thank
fitting.
you.
It
very
is
fitting.
fitting.
Yes. For the,
It's doing you a lot of favors, bro.
No. You don't get to tell him what you're in.
No, I'm not.
I'm doing it.
okay.
It's all me.
Okay.
Okay. So he showed up tonight
Yay.
in his big red F-250
Woo.
wearing a racing helmet, a fire suit, his driving shoes, and his fire gloves.
And no pants.
I was going to leave that out.
Technically.
Yeah. We were gonna add that one,
I wasn't-
Grant.
He's probably got his Nomex undies on too.
No.
You liar.
Yeah.
Well, he looks fantastic, as
Thank you.
I'm sure everybody could
It
imagine.
looks legit.
Yeah.
Vinny,
Yes, sir.
where did your passion for cars and the automotive community begin?
I mean, I grew up in the 90s and Hot Wheels was the rage, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And my Hot Wheels were passed down because we were broke from generations.
So you got
Okay.
the good
So
Hot
I got the
Wheels.
good shit.
Yeah.
So Hot Wheels was a big thing. I mean, growing up on our farm in our shop, my dad had Ferrari posters and De Tomaso Pantera posters, and
Okay. So it's in the family.
yeah, exactly, dude.
Okay.
I love cars, but mainly it came from my obsession with like mechanical things and how they work.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved how engines worked. I wanted to see how the inner workings of the vehicle worked and how they functioned, and that's where my obsession came from.
I like how you said that. Obsession.
That's right.
That's how I
Addiction.
like it too. Addiction.
I don't have any others.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a good clean boy. So, what would you consider your first project car? Do you have one? Do you have something besides what you're running now?
Oh yeah, I'd say my first project car was my first car. It was an '85 Nissan 300ZX Turbo, which my
Good
dad
car.
highly warned me not to get.
Oh, really?
That's the Fairlady, right? Or was it already Fairlady, or did you convert it?
The Fairlady was all, I
That's
think,
a
Japan.
280, right?
Yeah.
I think any Japanese
Z.
Z was a Fairlady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine was. It wasn't all stock. It had a full 3-inch a true cold air intake actually. And you know, I was in high school still. My dad warned me this thing's gonna have unlimited electrical gremlins. But I was like, no, I looked it up. It's reliable and this and that. I bought it for like $2,200, which I wish
wow.
I could find one.
Did he co-sign on your bullshit?
No, and I don't know the podcast and what I can and can't say, but Italians and Irish have a history.
Oh my God.
Vinny Gambardella is obviously on the Italian side. Durag Giltonen is on the Irish side. And when my dad found out that the guy I was buying from was Irish, he refused to even get out of the car and meet
To
with the
look
guy.
at it?
Yeah.
Wow.
He didn't even know the guy?
Nope.
Wow.
Didn't matter.
But that was my first project car. I mean, I went through and did a stage 1, you know, did all the cam seals, rear main seal, every seal
Yourself?
with a family friend. And then the car had one of the electrical gremlins my dad warned me about and never ran again.
Well, did you ever figure it out or have an idea nowadays what it could have been?
It intermittently ran, so it was really tough back then. I mean, it would start up, run, sometimes for 3 hours, sometimes for 5 minutes. It was so inconsistent. Looking back now, I think I could have solved it.
So it was an unfair lady.
Yeah. It was an unfair bitch. She was a bitch, dude.
That's fair.
She screwed me over and proved my dad right. You know,
And that was the worst part, wasn't it?
exactly.
Okay, well that's sick. I love those cars. You know me, I like that post facelift, and you had the pre facelift, so
Yes, I did.
you lose little points there.
What's the post and pre-facelift? I thought they all looked the same for the 300.
Well,
Pull them up.
Well, there's a Z31.
Just take a
Okay.
look. Let's just take a gander.
Well, we could
because
take it.
Well, there's three.
Yeah.
There is 3 stages, right? What did they call it?
There's the Z30,
Right.
which is what I had.
Okay.
Z32.
And make sure you search turbo.
So we could pull these up, but we should also describe for our listeners so they can.
We will. I want you
Okay.
guys to describe it because I
Oh,
know what
okay.
they look like, and
Okay.
I honestly don't hate any of them. I just prefer
Mine was an 85.
Nissan. Does that just search that?
So
And- yeah, go ahead.
the main thing with the Z31s was the face was really sharp and abrupt, but the taillights were amazing. That's a Z32 or that's the facelift,
That's my
Oh,
favorite.
okay.
which
The bumper was different.
that's mine. The front end is slightly different.
You can tell.
The front end,
It's a little more rounded.
it's more 90s instead of 80s.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Mine was 80s.
so like the first gen looks more like a
C4.
That's
okay.
the first gen.
well, okay, so one looks kind of like an RX-7 FC.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, Jeremy, could you go with that first photo real fast? Then that one kind of looks like
240?
I was gonna say more Miata kind of front end.
I think so. And
Well,
it looks
or
like an
240.
S13 pig nose.
Yeah.
So what the common thing was, now if you look at if you can type in the rear,
Oh, that's the best
that's
part.
the main thing.
Is it?
The 31 first gen to me had the way better those taillights. Those are sexy.
Okay,
That's
let's
what I
look at
have.
the facelift.
So
But the facelift,
the first gen looks like a Corolla, kind of like A86 rear end.
Or just search taillights.
those are all the first
Those are
gen, which
first
is
gen.
what I had, and I loved
Okay.
it. To me, it was gorgeous. That's
No,
all
that's all
first.
first.
You'll know the second. Oh, there it is. Yep.
I
Ugly.
loved it.
I hate it.
Interesting.
Hate it.
I like the first one.
Me too.
It's
Okay,
weird
hey.
because that looks like a early 70s Mustang kind of rear end.
I'm outnumbered here.
Worst gen of Mustang.
you don't want
Yeah.
You want
And
to?
it just doesn't look good on a
So
Japanese
that
car.
is the
or
oldest
natural.
gen, right, Vinny?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the oldest. That's the very first gen of the
That's
rear.
the dopest one.
Look, I like it too because it says turbo. It looks like a Porsche, kind of. You know, and I
It
really
looks like
appreciate
Georgie's
that.
visor from Star
And
Trek.
I love how much space it takes up.
It does have
Oh, yeah.
944 vibes.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I really did like the facelift gen. I know I'm outnumbered here, and that's fine. But the reason I like it is because it was like the beginning of the style they went with the S14 taillights, right? With the 240, the second gen, and then with the what other 300ZX Z32.
The Z32.
It looks like they were like going for that style, so it reminds me of that a little bit, and that's why I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think,
And the body kit was lower. It was
Right.
much lower.
I think the Z32 looks more like that ultimately because you have two layers.
It's true.
Instead of a single. But the popular thing was buy a Z31 pre-facelift, and then they would swap the front end with the facelift.
Yeah.
And that was what my goal was if I could have kept the car. But, you know, I was young and it was what it was. But
And Daddy told you no.
exactly. Leonardo, he said, no, it's, what is he, the purple Ninja Turtle?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So, yeah. You know,
Okay.
it kind of also
ahead.
reminds me of the Supra. of
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
Yes.
generation.
The Mark III.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It does.
Absolutely.
With the straight across, big, bold tails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, Vinny, let's get into what we really, really want to talk to you about. Your 1976 Volvo 242, which is a coupe.
Yes, sir.
What drew you into the 242, or was it a happenstance? What's going on there?
Can we pull up a photo of that?
Absolutely.
Okay. I don't know much about Volvo, so that's why I'm very curious.
You're going to learn a lot.
It's got to be the 76. I mean, any of the
70s.
flat hoods, but
yeah.
Okay.
And what is a flat hood?
So Volvo made the 240 from, I think, 75 to 93. Almost 30 years, shy of 30 years. And almost nothing changed except the hood, the grille, tail lights. But from the side, you could almost not tell any difference from the side profile. My original love for Volvos, I mean, my dad bought a Volvo when I was a kid, and he had a early 90s 245, which was the wagon, with the TV headlights, which was the last gen. And he pulled up, and I said, "What the fuck, did Dad buy a hearse?" I was like, "This literally looks like a hearse." It was the wagon. I was like, "This is the ugliest car I've ever seen." And then I drove it. I sat in it. It was so nice. It was all tan leather, maroon exterior, same color actually as my 242. And he kept boasting about how nice it was. Nothing can touch these for the money. The reliability, the ride quality. And even though I hated it at first, I drove it enough where I was like, man, this guy's right. This thing was cheap as hell. This is so nice of a ride. It handles good. It's got decent power for a 2.3 liter
rear-wheel drive.
Rear-wheel drive. They handle great in the snow. I remember my friend we worked at a job together, and he lived on this hill, and it was covered in snow. And he called me. He's like, dude, my car's front-wheel drive. My tires are bald. Didn't you say Volvos handle good in the snow? Can you pick me up? I was like, yeah, man, I got you. So I took my dad's car, which was his baby. And after work, I was like, let's go drifting.
Nice.
And there was a new construction site on a hill where you're going up a hill, and then it turns down a lane, curves around, and goes up the hill. So it was downhill both ways into the street.
So literally a roller coaster.
Yeah. So I go to drift this thing, not realizing I'm in a pit. I'm in a half pipe. Snow, no traction. So I drift this thing. I'm whipping up. I'm like, hell yeah. All of a sudden, can't go back up the hill. And I'm like, oh, fuck.
Dad.
I'm like, dude,
We're fucked.
if my dad finds me in this, and it's a new construction street, so there's no reason to be there. There's no houses, no through street.
None at all.
I'm dying, dude. I'm like, holy shit, he's going to kill me, dude. And so I just kept going up and down, reverse, forward, until I finally gained enough traction where I went reverse up this whole hill, just fucking flooring it. Gave that thing everything it got.
Wow.
And that's where I kind of earned a love for those things. I'm like, man, these things are tanks.
Yeah, my mom had a 7 Series. She had a 740 turbo. It was manual as well as a wagon.
Yep.
It was sweet. I mean, I thought it was hideous at the time, but I'm like, that's actually, now that I'm looking back on it, they're not bad. They're great cars. They were built well, and you could get them on the used market for very cheap.
Oh, yeah.
I thought for sure you were going to tell us you hit your first telephone pole in it and snapped the pole right off. Didn't do any damage to the car,
So why, this is our big question, why did you choose to swap the LS1 into your car versus building turbo, what do they call them? Red blocks.
Red blocks.
Okay.
Red blocks are amazing. They can be built for...
And that's a stock-ish motor, right?
Yeah.
It's a Volvo family motor.
Yep. Any B-Series red block,
Okay.
B21, 23, B230 FT, all of them are red blocks. Incredible for boost. I mean, you hear stories of guys pulling these things open 400,000 miles, turboing it, and it's still, you can still see the cross hatching on the cylinders.
Wow.
And my real goal when I got into Volvos was that. My neighbor... It's funny, at the end of the farm, there's a neighbor, and he was about 10 years older than me. He had every Volvo I wanted. He had the 16-valve swap. He had turboed them. But back then, the joke was every Volvo is $500. And he was getting them in that time, but I was a kid. I didn't have money. But STS, out of Oregon City at the time, made a swap kit.
They're a manufacturer, right?
Yep, they make
For parts?
swap kit for LSs.
Okay, so it's similar to like Excessive.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Shout out Excessive.
Woo!
Oh yeah, we love Excessive.
So they started that, and this is all back before I could even, dream of affording the swap. My thing was power for money. How much reliable power can I get for my dollar? Mm-hmm. And I did tons of research on turbo builds, on turbo bricks, a Volvo form, and ultimately came down to, you could invest X amount of money and you would be putting all your money, time, and to get the same reliability, you'd be not even breaking even with doing an LS swap.
Okay.
So it's kind of a no-brainer.
Are we talking power to power, dollar to dollar? Would it be even out?
No.
Or
What he's saying is it's far cheaper to do the LS swap and get the power and reliability than probably 4 times the price in the Volvo motor.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
and kind of in between. I mean, you could do it, but the reliability factor, the amount of work, it's like at that point you could invest a similar dollar amount, but then you have the same amount of power, more torque, and it costs about the same. So it's like, and you have availability of parts,
Mm-hmm.
So why even? But there's a lot of purists. Volvos are kind of like VW
Beamers.
guys.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're kind of weird. Kind of
Well, the big question I got is because the LS motor, I assume, is way bigger than the stock Volvo motor, right?
Displacement.
displacement wise, yeah.
So then, how does it affect the balance and the handling of it?
I haven't balanced my car, but I want to say it actually improves it.
Okay.
So the Volvo from the factory, it's like 48, 52, 52 biased in the rear or something.
Huh.
And the LS is only, I think, a true LS is only like 80 pounds heavier than the stock. Mine was a 2.1 instead of a 2.3. But it really actually, between that and bumper mods and other mods, it probably actually brought it closer to 50 than factory weight.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
It's pretty amazing, honestly.
And you didn't have to move it back into the fire.
So it is slightly heavier.
Nice.
It is a little heavier.
That's weird because most guys we talk to at the LS swap is it always improves the weight on the front end.
Yeah, but what's a 2.1 liter is only a 4-cylinder, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
8-valve 4-cylinder, pretty small already,
Yeah.
Right.
So
So,
that
go ahead, Jeremy.
it only increased 80 pounds adding 4 cylinders is actually a surprise.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the amount of torque and power.
Is that with an iron block or with the aluminum block?
Aluminum.
Okay.
Yep. And the Volvo, I mean, fuck, that thing probably brand new, didn't even break 100 horsepower.
Yeah.
So you're talking 3 times the output for barely an,
Yeah.
20% weight gain.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
You just have a small child in the passenger seat. That's all.
Yeah.
That's
I just
really
got to
what it
skip
is.
a meal that day.
Real fast. You said they were called the red blocks? Is it because they're literally red or?
Yeah, from that 30-year production and into what Ian's mom had, the 7 Series, 9 Series, they all had the B Series engine. And from the factory, the block was painted red like this microphone cover.
Nice.
Did they say why? Was it a tradition or like?
Just a styling thing.
Interesting. Okay.
The paint was probably cheap that year.
Yeah.
I was
Those
gonna say,
30 years.
like
Leftover World War II paint from the Swedes. And
They used to paint barns red because that was the cheapest paint at the time.
Was it really?
Oh, really?
Oh wow! I
I've
never
heard
knew that.
I have heard that.
That is interesting.
So, when we're talking about your build, when you did your build, what challenges and obstacles did you face? What were the biggest ones? Let's talk about that because I think a lot of people that are on the fence about LS swaps need to know this type of stuff.
I'd say the number one biggest challenge when you're trying to retrofit a larger motor, transmission, everything is being super drunk when you're doing it. When you and your buddies are fucked up, how do we do this? No, that was a little concern, but we worked it out. Honestly, the Volvo is such a large engine bay that it is a huge candidate for swaps. My biggest hurdle was the radiator because there's a lot of opinions on which route you should go. STS has a plug and play formula, but then the further you dive into it, you have hit or miss depending on the climate, where people live, what they're doing with the car. I wanted zero chance of overheating, So I went with the Eagle Talon turbo twin fan radiator, Mitsubishi Eclipse pretty much. And it's worked out well. I've had some bleeding issues, but that's my kind of error based on how I routed things.
Sure. But
that was a thing. And then my car being an older Belgian made car, STS made a phenomenal kit. I can't knock it at all for the price. And they're the only ones making a mainstream kit. I still had to adapt it quite a bit for my design. And I actually had one of the owners of STS come out and look at what I did. And he was kind of blown away that it didn't all fit the way other cars did. But I said, you're dealing with a 30-year range of bodies and motors and all sorts of things. Then you're dealing with a whole range of LS swaps. You got 4.8s, 5.3s, 6.0s, 5.7s, 6.2s. So you're catering to a bunch of different engines and a bunch of different car bodies. And even though they're similar, there's going to be some sort of adapting required.
Of course.
And he said, well, you're the first I've heard. I said, most guys doing a swap, they understand that there's going to be adaptation, So there's been other guys that probably did that. They just didn't call you. I just want to let you know it wasn't plug and play. I had to chop up your tranny mount. I had to chop away at the motor mounts. There's some custom things even with the swap kit.
Interesting.
Yeah, I believe it. And 76 240s are not the most commonly swapped ones, right? You're looking at mostly 90s cars, right? 80s and 90s.
Yeah, the thing is with the 242s, which is any Volvo, all 240s are a 240 series. 242s are two-door, 244s four-door, 45, the wagon. They stopped production of the two-door in, I think, 83. So super early on in the production, they just weren't selling enough two-doors. The problem is the flat hood, which I was describing earlier, was the earliest gen. All European cars came with flat hoods, the whole production. And it looks so much better than the later coffin hoods and everything. So what guys would do back when Volvos were dirt cheap and no one cared about them, they'd buy the flat hoods, whether it's a two-door, four-door, whatever, and they'd take the front end off and put it on whatever car they wanted. And so to find an early 70s because the rear end of a 70s is shared with the 140.
So much better. It's so much better.
It is. You got the small taillights. It has more of an aggressive slope to the trunk.
Well, and just the angle of the back line, it doesn't look so like
boxy.
The
brick.
It's like it literally like rounds out on the bottom going into the tire wells. I think the 70s rear ends on those is just fucking phenomenal. It looks so much better.
And they're hard to find because the rust issues and the guys taking off the fronts. So you'll commonly see 80s series 242s, which have the later gen front ends, but they'll swap them for 242s,
Right.
Or sorry, flat hoods.
Any flat hood.
Can we go back to the LS swap real fast?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was going to say, one of the questions with that swap is, what did you have to do for transmission-wise?
Sorry, I'm laughing at you had to put on the race gloves to ask that question. You had to get into character. Getting ready to shift gears here.
I'm shifting gears in that training.
Yeah, you mind if I shift gears? You should have said that. You mind if I shift gears back to the transmission?
Oh, we don't make puns on this podcast.
We don't have video yet.
So transmission options, a lot of guys just strictly due to cost will go with like a 4L60, 4L80 automatic.
Okay.
I had to have a manual. I mean, to me, it's the only way to go if you're doing a fun swap. So T56 is the way to go for me, 6-speed. Even though I only use 4 of them pretty much consistently. Fitment wise, I had to hammer my tunnel and I had to cut away where the shifter goes, but a lot of guys don't.
Really?
So the body work is kind of inconsistent on the Volvos because I've heard so much.
Like,
Oh, I had to hammer it, and guys were like, "No, I had plenty of space."
because of build quality, or like
I think we're touching back on what Vinny said about how many years it was produced. Mm-hmm. You know, where they put the axle that year, the front, like, you know, where they put the cross member. I'm sure it changed.
Yeah, and mine was a Belgium car,
That's
and a lot
true.
of guys don't even know there's Volvos made in Belgium because they're from Sweden. So I think it was due to manufacturing crossover on design because my car was so filled with mud and debris underneath. Finding the transmission mount bolts alone, I thought it was one spot, but then all of a sudden I started cleaning all the debris out, and there's like 4 different spots for a transmission mount.
That's really cool.
So between the motor models, transmission models, I think that came with a lot of the adapting, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
If it was a 2.3, 1.8, or whatever it was, 2.1.
Yep, 2.1, 2.3. I did have to do a custom drive shaft.
Yeah.
That's every swap.
Yeah,
Let's be
exactly.
honest.
What about the rear end? Is the original rear ends, they hold up, or do you have to swap them into something else?
So the original rear end is the equivalent of like a Dana 30 series.
Okay.
And that's a super hot topic with Volvo guys. It's hit or miss. It's like 50-50. Mine blew up, mine held up. And I think that depends on tires, driving style, condition. Sorry.
It's all good.
Talking with my
Yeah.
hands.
You're good.
That's why I got
know.
the headset.
I know you're Italian.
Sorry, I keep hitting the cord. I'm using my hands to speak. But yeah, I'm sorry.
Dana 30.
Yeah, Dana 30. Mine's holding up pretty well, and mine has a True Track diff. So it locks up really well. A lot of guys grenade them immediately. So the common swap is to do a Ford 8.8.
Are we talking real fast? They're 50% survival rate just as they were factory, or are you saying even after you rebuild them, they're still 50-50?
I don't know how many guys are rebuilding them. I think
Okay.
it's guys launching them with fucking 400,000 miles on them.
Right. Right.
Like the Dana 30, they put those in male Jeeps,
Okay.
right? The Dana 44 is where you started getting into the stronger ones, like a Ford 8.8 inch. That's a pretty good rear end. Like, I mean, really, if I was gonna do, a built car with an LS motor, I might even look at like a Ford 9-inch.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think the common thing for Volvo guys, again, I'll compare them to VW guys, even though I don't associate with that crowd as much.
Never.
They're cheap. And the 8.8, you find them in Ford Explorer. One of my buddy's dads built drag cars, and when I told him the rear, like, dude, you're good for 600 horsepower. I don't know what those guys are talking about. I think a lot of it's high mileage, driving style, tire
Maintenance.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well, if you're doing a neutral drop too, I mean,
Well,
exactly.
your pinion gear
that
is going to be
and
toast.
I feel like that diff you have in it really makes a huge difference.
That's the thing. The True Track is super. The guy that sold me the car said the most valuable thing in this car is the True Track.
Yeah.
So you're telling me if you've got a flat-nosed two-door car with a V8 in the front, a TVD6 in the back, and a Ford 8.8 inch, you're telling me that's either an early gen, third gen Camaro or a Mustang?
It's
So
the
much
Volvette,
better,
dude.
dude.
Volvette, dude.
Honestly, after helping Vinny with this swap, I helped a little bit, but it really made me appreciate Volvos, dude.
Yeah.
There for the time period for a 76, there was so much cool stuff. I mean, 4-wheel disc brakes, the sway bars on this thing are freaking massive, dude.
How big are we talking about?
Like at least 25 mil.
Oh, I think they're
on the
like
rear.
32, maybe.
32 mil. It's
On
the
the
biggest
back?
I've ever seen. Yeah, on the back.
Holy
it's the
crap.
biggest I've ever seen on a car.
You should see mine then. Liger's got a 38 in front, and the rear I think's a 25.
Well, I believe it, but I'm just saying for a stock.
Well, mine are
pretty big.
aftermarket. Stock are a lot smaller.
Yeah, yours are aftermarket. I'm just saying, like,
Oh,
for
yeah.
buying a car, running and driving for, I don't know what you bought it for. I think it was a couple $1,000.
$1,700.
Oh, that's insane.
And
But,
I've sold enough parts to pay for it, pretty much.
Wow.
so, what are some of the unique things you've done to the car so far besides the LS swap? We know that's very unique for that car.
So the bumpers are a later kind of Euro spec bumper. The original Volvos from pre-83 had what was called the Commando bumper.
Okay.
And they're aluminum, so you'd think they'd be a lot lighter, but they're ginormous. You know, you could have a picnic on them. And Volvo had the shocks in the bumper.
The 5 mile an hour bumpers.
Exactly.
cool.
They had little shock assemblies.
Yeah.
So I swapped the bumpers from my wagon that I had as a parts car, and they're way slimmer. They look way better. They're lighter. I mean, I'm a quarter of the weight, you know.
That's cool.
Another thing is the front spindles when I did the suspension, those are a beefier spindle from the later gen. I did a later gen steering rack, which was beefier. Suspension, a lot of guys don't run coilovers, but these have BC coilovers. There are guys that either make their own or go with BNE, which is a really good option.
What is B&E?
He's a Volvo fanatic that started his own company, and he makes a really good coilover setup. But for me, they were a little expensive, and BC's been around forever. Ian kind of convinced me just go with the BC, you know. And they were kind of an all-inclusive deal. They had roll center adjustment built into their kit.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and B&E's was on back order, and it was a lot more money. And even though I really respect what he does, I know he makes a phenomenal product. BC was just kind of the fit for me.
Yeah, no, I think the suspension setup you chose on the car after install just made the car. Personally.
Absolutely.
It really changed the whole dynamic. So besides BC and what's the other company you shouted out?
STS.
STS. Any other suppliers or used parts or anything that you threw on it besides the cooler bumpers, the slim bumpers?
I personally, a lot of my stuff came from my donor car, but I know a huge shout out is to Dave Barton.
Okay.
He's like the plug in the Volvo community. You go to his website, it's like more dated than Craigslist.
Wow.
You feel like you're using dial-up to go on his website, but he has more knowledge and information and parts than probably any Volvo guy.
That's cool.
So he's good for wiring schematics, for build information, for brakes. Brakes is another one. I'm doing a big Willwood kit. That's a winter deal. I'll swap on later, you know.
Right.
How's the salvage market with these in terms of buying either complete cars or just going to junkyards to pull parts? Is it getting more scarce now, or?
I've noticed in the last few years, it has just exponentially gotten so much harder to find parts and cars. Again, there's Facebook pages called Every Volvo's $500. I mean, now you're seeing good examples go for big money on Bring a Trailer. And
Really?
And there was a 240 I saw. I was at the junkyard for something else, and they had one in their prep yard. And I could see, IPD, that's another Northwest exclusive Volvo. They're the biggest Volvo parts
Manufacturer.
Yeah, for performance in the Northwest in the U.S.
And they have an actual brick and mortar shop, and they do online sales. Yeah, they're awesome. Yeah,
in Portland they show events. So this Volvo I saw in their prep yard had all the IPD goodies that everyone wants: sway bars, springs, everything. So I was calling the junkyard, hey, when is that going to be on the lot?
Yeah.
They say you just got to show up, look at the website. So I monitor it every day, and on my day off, it finally got put on the yard. I showed up the first day, an hour after opening, and there was already a dude there, and the car was completely stripped.
Wow.
And I said, dude, I thought I was
on it
in the clear. He said, so did I. I said, you didn't strip this? He said, I showed up before opening. He said about 6 dudes were running to the car. He said, I didn't want conflict, so I just backed off. He said they all fought over it. They stripped it within an hour by the time I got there. And I was like, man, I can't believe how... Because, I mean, the Pacific Northwest is like Volvo land.
Yeah.
Not for performance. More so it's for, latte making people that like the kind of hipster vibe of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Which to me made it for a better sleeper,
Yeah.
Am I a grandma? Am I a hipster.
Well, I don't think they were the latte makers showing up to steal the parts off the car.
No, for sure.
So
I'm sure they were guys like us.
if Volvos are going up that much, do you think they're comparable to like what the Japanese market's doing now? Like, or are they going like higher prices, or where would you consider them at?
I'd say being like a '90s kid, Japanese cars definitely rule that market by far.
Okay.
I mean, because you can see desirable '90s cars that boomers never thought would compare to muscle cars go for more than muscle cars.
Mm-hmm.
Volvos are still, I would say, very affordable in comparison.
For project
Exactly.
race cars.
Especially the 4-doors. 4-doors are a dime a dozen. You can still pick them up running, good condition. 2-doors are very hard to find. The wagons are very popular. They're kind of more of a just hit or miss, you know?
Right.
But I would say they're still an affordable option for people trying to make a performance car out of a car that wasn't meant for performance.
Mm-hmm.
But they have, in my opinion, just totally increased to the point where I don't know how much I'd be willing to spend for one if I didn't find the right deal.
Yeah.
You know?
So you're saying you would have pivoted, maybe.
I may have gone a different route if it was, even though I've always wanted to do this, I kind of found that sweet spot and it all worked out, you know.
Okay. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I want to touch on that maybe a little bit later, but I find that very interesting. What are the pros and cons of the swap that you've done so far?
Oh, man. I mean, pros, it's a head turner. Every time I drive it, people are giving me thumbs up, taking pictures, asking what's in it, because it is a sleeper. Even though it's loud, they're not expecting that of kind of a grandma car.
No. Oh. I had a fucking beetle bounce off my head.
I thought
you were saying you're talking too much.
No.
No, you're definitely not.
No.
Okay, good. So pros, it's really cool. In the Volvo community, it doesn't feel as unique because it's very popular.
Mm.
But Volvo, there's a lot of purists that hate when you LS swap.
Oh, I feel your pain.
Red blood. Oh yeah, IS. I mean, same thing.
Like the anger of like a Ferrari fan if you touch a Ferrari.
Oh God, I wouldn't say that far. I mean, Ferrari, even though they're my blood, they'll come after you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Volvo guys, they're disappointed. They're the disappointed father in your decisions. You know?
Okay.
Why did you do that to a beautiful, perfectly good car?
Like a Dodge fan now that they're electrifying the Charger.
Yeah.
That is a good example.
Exactly.
Grant. Holy shit.
So the pros are it's cool, it's fun. I mean, for me, the pros are exponential. I mean, parts are cheaper, it's more reliable, it's fast, it's fun. I'd say the only cons are traction right now. Gaining traction with the 215 series tires, it can be tough. It can spin through third. But, I mean, if you care what other people think, the only con is really disappointment from people that are purists. Otherwise, it's all love. It's all fun. I don't see a single reason why you wouldn't.
Right. For power, torque, reliability.
Exactly.
What about weight? Because they're all metal cars, right? They're built like tanks.
They are.
Is that one of the cons with those cars?
So that's something that turned Ian onto these. Every person that ever hears Volvo thinks big, heavy. They were heavy for the time, compared to a Bug, a Beetle, because they weren't an American big car. They're this small coupe. They're a small Swedish car. They're a foreign car that was supposed to be tiny, lightweight. So compared to, let's say, a Bug or a Corolla, they were heavier, but I mean, my car is probably sitting at around 2,800 pounds.
Wow,
So
that
it's
heavy.
still very,
let me put you. Tell you, as a guy with 4,000-pound car.
Right.
it's still a pretty light car. you know?
No, I know. And
Wow.
I was shocked, to be honest, because I'm like, my car's got to be lighter.
That's
than his.
crazy.
And then he's like, no,
heavier.
my car. Oh, yeah, my car's way heavier. It's like
Damn.
600 pounds heavier.
And they're smaller than they look.
2,800 pounds. So that's
It's lighter than the
My-
Camaros,
and I
lighter
like
than the
trucks three
Mustangs.
times.
And I
that
lighten, I lighten mine up by 300 pounds.
damn.
And that's without me and my mom in it. If my mom and I are in it, it's probably closer to like a Challenger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just kidding. She
30. So
don't guess my
it's
mom's weight.
3,000 pounds. So,
I was thinking closer to like 4,500 or something. No, I'm just kidding. My mom's a petite woman. I just joke.
It's like a stance truck.
What was her name?
So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, a couple more questions regarding the driving experience with the LS swapped Volvo. What's going to be your future plans for the car? Performance upgrades that you've done to the engine per se, if you have any. What are we talking here? What's your setup look like?
So currently with the stock rear end, a big thing for me was wheel choice. Volvos have a really weird pattern. It's like 5x108, which I know
You're talking a bolt pattern.
Exactly, your wheel bolt pattern. Some Fords shared it.
yeah.
But it's a really hard wheel to fit with the car's, offset and everything. So I went to Moto Corsa, who makes custom steelies for the Volvo. The offset's amazing. They're
That's
deep
cool.
dish. They look amazing. They're like period correct. I love them, but they're big and heavy. And
They're steel.
Exactly. They're widened steelies,
Yeah.
almost 30 pounds a piece.
Whoa.
So, and then that being said, too, they're 16x9. Tire choice by 16x9 is really difficult.
Awful.
It's hard to find a good tire selection, which is why I'm running 215s. So, I mean, I'm going to go bigger brakes. I'm going to tune the suspension. But ultimately, my goal is if that rear end gives out, I'm going to drive it for now. I have the Ford 8.8 ready to be shortened in the garage. Then I'll go with a different wheel choice. I already have them picked out. SSR mesh, old school kind of mesh look.
Nice.
That will totally change my wheel or my tire choice.
And weight.
Exactly. It'll be way less rotating mass, much better traction. And once I have the ability to have that much more traction, I'll probably go LS6 heads, stage 2 cam. I'll get it retuned. It was already tuned when it was in Ian's car. A little spoiler.
Yeah,
it was
that is a
Ian's
spoiler.
car.
This was my old engine.
Yeah, exactly. It was in an IS 300 before this. Right now, it runs phenomenal. I have no point in dropping, over $1,000 in tuning. But if I upgrade the rear end and I upgrade to better traction, it will be getting heads, cam, springs, a tune. Until then, I don't really have enough traction to justify those mods. I think I'd be just spinning tires,
Right. That makes sense.
Does your car have a cage in it or a bar or anything to help stiffen it?
It's a Volvo, dude.
So
They're
no.
stiff anyway.
No, they're built in. Safest car in the world.
Yeah.
Interesting enough, that front tower bar's interesting. You have the two
Oh,
of
the
them.
strut bars?
There's two of them, yeah.
Has a strut bar on it?
It has like
Wow.
it has like a four-way strut bar.
Well,
Custom, right?
so first with his, safety-wise, no.
Okay.
It's strictly
Street car.
relying on the Volvo factor that they developed in the 70s.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I mean, I used to want to have the seats in the rear. The more I drive it, I realize it's only me or one passenger, and it's hard to get in the back. So I've considered kind of a
Half
half-cage / rear reinforcement stiffening.
Or just cut the roof off, make convertible. Easy to get in and out.
Hideous. Ugly convertibles.
I'll punch him at the brake.
To the sway bar, that was a custom piece made by the guy who sold me the car. Him and his brother used to have a Volvo performance shop in Portland. I can't recall the name.
Loves.
That's a truck stop.
No, it was
No, it was
Very popular truck
something
stop.
Love.
no, it was
Wasn't it though?
not at all.
Okay, my bad. I'm out of pocket. I'm out
So-
of pocket here, boys.
So he made the custom brace that goes across the strut tower, and then he made the ones that go from the strut tower to the firewall. And so he made a custom welded brace that bolts into the firewall. And what's cool about that is guys have done that forever with the 2.1s, but a lot of guys have a problem fitting strut tower braces with the LS. His custom design for the 2.1 happens to clear the LS.
LS1.
Wow.
LS1 with the car intake. If it was a truck, no way in hell. I mean, a truck intake couldn't fit the flathead either. But it's really cool because it connects at multiple points.
Yeah, it is a nice looking setup.
Yeah.
I imagine that, like, even on impact, that would help tremendously.
I hope so.
Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid.
Almost
your
has
car
happened
takes-
already.
Yeah,
Steering,
I believe
that's-
that, Vinny.
I had Bluetooth steering at one point.
Tell us about that.
So when you're doing a swap and you have to upgrade the steering rack, it's a good idea to inspect the steering rack factory bolts and where the female end. I didn't realize that mine were already stripped out, being an aluminum body rack. So I was taking my girl for a ride and did an 80-mile-an-hour pull on a busy street, and I lost steering completely. And then all of a sudden it came back. I gained steering again. I was like, holy shit.
And you're like, this is when my drifting skills kick in.
Yeah.
I won't get stuck on that hill again.
Exactly.
Probably more like, this is where I die.
Sorry, babe. You know.
Go ahead and bend over, kiss your ass goodbye.
I kept my cool. I got it to pull over, and I said, babe, turn the steering wheel when I look under the hood. I look under the hood, and the whole steering rack's shifting left to right, not the rods. I'm like, oh, fuck.
So how many zip ties do you have to use to fix that?
Well, I limped it home,
Oh my god.
and right when I jacked it up, not off, it was just, sorry, I almost had a slip of tongue.
I'm not going to lie, I was getting excited.
Right when I jacked it off, just the pressure from unloading the suspension, the steering shaft came separated from the
The shaft.
Wow.
Shit, dude.
So it was
Bluetooth disconnected.
I mean, milliseconds from catastrophic failure.
So the shaft fell out and oil dripped all over. It was over.
No oil came out. Well, I was a little too disappointed at the time to be that excited, but so I took it all off. I drilled and tapped bigger holes, remounted it, Loctited it, re-inspected it, and now it's been good. But it was definitely a little eye opener to double check your shit.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you
Witness
helicoil it
marks.
or did you just tap it?
I actually just drilled it out to a slightly larger size and tapped it, and there was enough meat in there where I had a solid tap, and then I Loctited it, and I also really stiffened the it's kind of like a hose clamp that goes on the other side of the steering box, but you know,
Yeah. Well, that sounded fun.
it was fun. Especially when my girlfriend had no idea what was going on. I'm like, it's okay, babe. Everything's fine.
Yeah,
we didn't just almost die.
Don't act upset.
She probably still doesn't know.
So the most important question about that car, by the way, is we never discussed what color it was.
Oh, we did.
Do we?
Well, I alluded to
He
it.
did. He said that's the same color as mine, or is that your dad's, right?
Yeah, he had a kind of a maroon. It's like a maroon, dark red.
Okay.
It
Mine's-
almost looks brown sometimes too.
Mine's a lot more patinaed, and the finish is kind of worn off. Eventually, it will get a paint job. I'm going to go white.
Nice.
They're such a basic body style. They're so square. You could really successfully do any color, but white is timeless, and you can mix and match wheels, and
Yeah.
you know.
Does that car have a name?
No, I'm not too big into naming my cars.
Okay.
You're alone here, dude.
Oh.
No, I
Jeremy.
it's a thing.
I thought you were
It's a thing.
team no name.
It's a thing.
I know it's a thing. I just
Yeah.
didn't know where we stood.
Yeah.
All right, we're
All-
gonna take
all my
a quick
trucks.
break.
It's
Okay.
been called
Let's-
Betty.
Well, then that's not a name. That's like a fucking
Big Betty.
I'd like to hear the reasoning.
okay.
I don't
Okay.
know. It's just my dad started it for me. And my
Oh,
grandpa
okay. So we all have daddy issues.
Yeah.
I like Volvos because my dad did.
Yeah.
On that, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, so back. We are back.
Shit.
We are
Hold on, I gotta
back.
bring our notes back up.
We're back, but not prepared.
Okay.
Okay. Now we're back.
We are.
Before we move on, I wanted to say my wife, she would have been a really good sit-in on this because she was a Volvo girl.
Oh, really?
Like 20 years ago, her and her ex-husband had a Volvo 122.
Oh,
God,
gorgeous,
I
dude.
love those. Dude, we saw that badass one at that show last weekend.
Amazon, dude. The
Yeah.
Amazon.
Dude, they're so
Sexy
sick.
as hell.
It was cool. It was lowered, had
So the
a built
sedan?
motor in it.
No, two-door.
just
Coupe.
two-
Oh,
122.
122.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I should have known better.
It's okay.
Cool car though.
Yeah,
I never got to see it.
Amazons are, dude. So we went to a Volvo show recently.
I got a picture.
It's a low key Volvo group that just popped up. I went to the first event I took Ian. Could not believe the turnout and the age group.
Oh yeah.
We were probably almost the oldest ones. Ian definitely was the oldest
Really?
one, not me.
Way to age me,
But-
dude. Thanks, bud.
But we were some of the oldest ones there. It was all a bunch of young kids.
So you had a bunch of tweens there and shit.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, it was crazy.
it was crazy. I didn't expect that, you know.
That's cool though.
But one kid shows up.
I thought it was a car show, not World of Tanks Expo.
Look at this one.
Same thing. Same. Oh,
122.
Yeah. That's
That's the one.
what it was.
Oh, it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous.
I was a little bitter
very
because
cool.
the kid that pulled up was like maybe 16.
He looked 16.
I'm like, dude, how did you get this? This is your dad's,
dad's
car.
car.
Which is still good for him, you
Yeah.
know. But honestly, out of any of the cars there, I thought I was going to steal the show. In a heartbeat, would have traded for that 122. It's so gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Full resto mod. Just
It looked amazing.
yeah,
It really was a
perfect.
gorgeous car.
Yeah, that'd be a good one to pick up if you could.
Oh, absolutely.
And every time you see them now, they're like way overpriced.
Oh, yeah.
4 to 5
Because,
grand in
well-
basket case.
And you can't get parts for them.
No.
I mean,
Good
No.
luck.
I do kick myself. There's one in my hometown. I can name the street, Crittenden Avenue. I used to ride my bike to work. It was a seafoam, just like that, seafoam
yeah.
green wagon, and the wagons had a truck tailgate on them. It was awesome.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
This thing sat my whole childhood. I rode my bike past that for 10 years.
and it was a 125.
Yeah.
Nice.
And a friend of mine goes around restoring BMWs, specifically 2002s. And he goes around, just drives around the state offering, hey, you selling that car? It doesn't have to be a 2002. That's just his bread and butter.
Yeah.
So he saw that Volvo and he's like, hey, do you want to sell that? And what's the story about it? They're like, oh, it runs and drives. All original. We just have kept it. And it was like an unreal price, like $3,000. And he hit me up. And at the time I couldn't afford it because and I was like, dude, that is insane. You could literally buy that and probably post it to a Volvo page and get $10,000.
Wow.
And all original, running, driving, and that's one I kicked myself for not making it happen. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I would too.
Yeah.
You suck, Vinny.
You take credit? Okay.
You
Where
suck.
can I swipe my card?
Exactly. I owe you.
Okay, we want to talk to you a little bit about your other car. You have a 2008.
7.
It's a 7. Okay, 2007 Z, right? It's a 350Z.
Yep.
I know you haven't drifted much on the track, but what are your plans with it?
Somewhere there's
What's
a Rob
going
going,
He doesn't like them or he likes them?
oh, that's what he used to have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, or no, he had the 370.
He had a 7.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But he'll still be like, oh, that's cool.
So I'm a huge Z fan. I mean, my first car was a Z.
Yeah.
Dude, even with the cord wrapped up, I'm still hitting it. How do you all keep still so much?
We don't.
dude.
That's why
It's
they
all
put the
good.
headset on me because I kept doing that.
You're tired?
No, I'm Mexican.
So,
Just tell us about the car. What is it?
yeah, I mean, I bought that kind of on a whim. I've wanted a drift car for a long time. All my friends, Ian included, are dying to have me take the 242 on the track, but the two-door 70s are so rare now that I couldn't live with myself if I wrecked it on the track. The 350s are out of the box, amazing drift cars.
100%. We've talked about it a lot on this pod.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and specifically the HR, you know, you got the original, then the rev up, then the HR. I got this HR on such a killer deal that I couldn't pass up. Even if I don't have a title for it or not, that's different. But it was such a good deal. I'm like, you know, even if I don't drive it as a track car, it would be worth the wait, you know. So that's kind of my goal. Keep it as a track car, eventually title it, and we'll see what I do with it from there. But definitely as a track
What
car.
are we it's a 07. You said that. What else you got going on?
It's It's on teens,
Yeah.
coilovers.
Like 18s or like 17s?
It is on 18s.
It is on 18s, 8-tains, 6-speed, the CDO9. It's the HR. It's got some body work done. I mean, like a little duck bill and some side flares.
Nice.
When I bought it, it was missing the front bumper and a lot of interior. Me and Ian kind of put it back together. Then I proceeded to drive it into a curb.
That'll happen.
Imagine that.
5 seconds after putting it together. But yeah, I mean that car is more of a keep the Volvo for shows in the street and fun, and use the 350Z as the kind of beat it up, drive it on the track, have fun, not really worry about it.
I'm going through the same thing because so I've got Liger, which is my Mustang that I do autocrossing and country driving. She gets well abused, but used.
That's the name.
Yeah, the Liger Zero. But my other car, which I'm restoring, is a 74 Fiat X19.
Oh, okay.
That's going to be all original and like everything perfect on it. And everyone wants to see me take it to the track. And I'm like,
Yep.
no, this is the weekend nice car.
Exactly. You can't find parts for this.
Yes.
People don't get it. It would be cool for a photo op. I'll admit that, but I just can't.
And it would perform.
It would. It
Yeah.
handles well.
But I will say, I've driven your Z, and in the form it's in now, it is fantastic. It's ready to rip. I mean, that thing is just awesome. It actually changed my mind on Zs. I've never really been a huge fan of the computer mouse look of them. They look like a computer mouse.
Right.
Let's be honest.
I think
But
it would look
That'd
good.
actually be
No.
kind of cool to do like an Apple theme with that. Like a 90s Macintosh theme on one of those cars, like a wrap. I'm not joking.
Wouldn't it?
That actually could be, I'd be sick.
Right.
You know, replace the logos, have like the little Apple thing, like the old school one.
But when me
Yeah.
and you were doing huge Manjis at 65 miles an hour, I was like, okay, this car is actually ready to go. It's
Yeah.
a nice car, and
Absolutely.
it's fast.
Yeah, it is quick. Name it Tosh.
Yeah.
Dude, you'd
Since
have
you're
to
dealing
put,
names.
Since you're big on names.
Name
you
it
would,
Tosh.
you would have to put a Macintosh stereo in it too.
Oh my gosh, you.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my gosh.
God, you'd spend money on that.
So,
Everyone's like, it's electric car. I'd be like, no.
are you planning on drifting it this next year with us?
The Z?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just need to get a little angle kick
Yep.
because the tie rods are already shot.
Mm-hmm.
So may as well do the kit anyways when I'm at it. You can get a decent cheap kit. I mean, you don't need much.
Right.
Factory's good enough.
It really is good.
With a little angle, you'd be killer, you know. Ian gave me a bunch of old tires from when he upgraded his setup. So
There you go.
yeah, I'm going to drift that thing and we'll see how I feel. I mean, I'll probably keep it as a drift car. Eventually, I wouldn't mind titling it. Either way, it was such a good deal that I kind of have no reason to get rid of it.
right.
You know,
Exactly.
it was killer.
I agree.
Yeah.
And they really are. That car also, just like your Volvo, it changed my outlook on those cars. Because like I drove Brian's, our buddy Brian's, and his was a rev up,
Right.
and it was cool. But yours feels so much better with that HR motor, man. I mean, it's a huge upgrade for those cars.
Oh, absolutely. And he, you know, the
It's
rev
another
up,
50 horse.
pretty much, yeah.
That's crazy.
The rev up was good, but it just basically revved up the 3.5, where the HR completely redesigned it, and it shares more similarities with the 370 than it does the 350.
Right.
Like
With-
different intake runners or what?
Oh,
what's-
yeah.
Yeah.
You have
Yeah.
true dual intake instead of a single.
Plenum.
Yeah.
They did some other things, but the nice thing about the 350 is it was a true stiff chassis track car. And even though I love 370s, to me, they have more horsepower, but they weigh more, and they're a softer chassis.
It is.
So the HR is a lot more desirable, and so that's why I kind of jumped on that deal, you know.
And it is a great track car.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody who's familiar with drifting would deny that. That is a literal perfect car to get in and just huck around and not give a shit about. And that's what's nice about yours, you know. It's a whatever you want to call it, fucking rebuilt title or
Right.
lack thereof.
No title and a rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, what better reason than throw a car on a track?
So I got a question then. If we're talking about like what better reason to throw a ridiculous car on track, It'd be a smart idea or a stupid idea to do the Countach.
Already a
tracking.
stupid idea.
That's a terrible idea.
To take it to a drift event?
Yes, awful.
No, bring
Your
Liger,
motor's
dude.
in the back, dude.
Yeah.
Bring Liger, dude.
I got the Countach.
Oh, you do?
Liger would be bad.
Yeah, not a good,
Liger
not a
would
good,
be sick.
not a good drift car.
Or
Maybe a
ghost
track car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to do some sort of time attack track,
No,
not time attack, I guess.
not in that car.
Oh,
Not in
that
the
beat up.
Countach.
Is it
It's a
is it
replica.
running yet?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I haven't worked. I've been sick. Cough, cough.
Hey, no judgment here, bro.
Well,
But,
let's
uh,
start
my
with
car
getting
needs
it
work
running.
already.
Yeah.
That's always the first.
So
concern.
I've had it running.
Really?
We're near point
that right,
where
Vinny?
we're near point where it's going to be drivable soon. So it's getting there. I need about 3 solid weekends, which I haven't had yet.
No, what
Okay.
you need to do
Yeah.
is throw a set of pizza cutters on Liger and come and fucking smoke them.
That too.
That would be fun.
Yeah, because
You would have a blast,
It would
dude.
be really interesting because, like,
Because then you can stay low speed, have tons of control.
yeah, I'd actually like to see where I would be in terms of drifting with Liger because, like, most of my driving I've done with Liger has been country road driving, which has been wet because we live in the Northwest. So I'm used to having the car, the back end one to go. And when we've had autocross events where the back end is going, I know how to control, especially in the wet.
Right.
So it'd be very.
So imagine that, like if you throw a
Yeah.
skinny set of tires on it, like 215s, 225s,
Mhm.
it would feel so similar to that
Yeah.
on the track. Like it would, especially like at a place like Spirit Peaks. Like there's no hard walls. There's one hard wall, but nobody ever hits it because you'd have to be a fool to hit it.
Yeah.
Everything else is tire edges, right? Just stacks of tires.
Accepted.
And dude, I'm telling you, you would love it. Dude.
We'll have to do it this
And
year.
it's a big wide track. Yeah,
We'll have to
come
do it
with
this
us.
year, yeah, because like that's with the amount of tire sets I've got with Liger, especially if we put those 315s on there, then we'll have the extra set of the 9.5 inch, so we can put whatever on there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you
Remind
wanna do
me
a
what the
stretch
Liger
setup.
is again.
So Liger's a 2007 Ford GT Mustang that is been heavily modified, but it's been modified in what the factory could have built. So a
Okay.
bright red Mustang that underneath, in terms of the hood, suspension, brakes, everything, is a monster. And even the interior looks factory, but like everything's different on the interior, just slight small changes here and there.
Okay.
Can
but-
we actually
It's OEM
consider
plus.
that? Can
OEM
we
plus.
actually consider that heavily modified if it's all stuff that Ford?
I mean, compared to the version that he bought it as,
Yeah.
Eh,
but it's OEM plus.
Yeah.
For some of our
Okay.
listeners, you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
And it's-
I'm sure we've all heard that.
And it's
Absolutely.
it's OEM from different models, from like Explorers and
Yeah.
GT500, like
Yeah.
Tauruses. I've used different parts from it to make it, the ultimate Mustang.
Right.
So, but yeah, well, I'll tell you after the podcast about why she's named Liger. We've talked about that on the show.
Yeah.
But no, I've had her forever.
Okay.
Yeah. So
It's a nice ride.
that
I'm
was
gonna pull a
good.
picture.
Jeremy, would you
Jeremy.
mind scrolling down for
Oh
me?
yeah, hold on. I was just warming myself up.
Yeah.
You were warming yourself.
Good for you.
Here.
Okay, so Yep. Vinny, we know you're Italian. You've made that very freaking clear at this point.
Just by my name.
I mean, that's true.
I haven't said
What
it.
are your favorite cars? And I'll give you 3 models,
Okay.
brands, and then events.
Okay.
And that could be anything car related.
Man.
Are you doing the question already?
Yeah, no, it's a general topic. I'm just
Okay.
trying
Go
to.
fast while Vinny thinks.
Oh, nice, dude.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's awesome. I'm going to start with events.
Okay.
Car events, my favorite all-time event is rally. Rally
Okay.
cross.
Oh, I love you.
Oh, I love you too, dude. I knew I loved you. I've been to probably,
I'm in.
over 10 of the Rally America events. Met Travis Pastrana.
Yeah, I've met him too.
Met Ken Block, RIP.
I got a great story about Travis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You want to tell him now?
Yeah, let's do it. I was at the Oregon Trail Rally a few years ago, and this is the year after Ken Block had passed.
Oh, okay.
So I'm standing there. Travis Pastrana is right next to his car and actually almost shoulder to shoulder with me. And there's a group of people that were like trying to get his picture, and I had just been talking to him. And he had turned and he's talking to this group of people, and they're like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "Well, I kind of got this food in my hand," and I looked at him and like, "I'll hold your food for you." And he looked at me. I'm kind of a chubby fucker, right? He looks at me and he goes, Yeah, I don't think so.
That's fucked up. That's awesome, dude.
It was fucking. It was great.
Dude, I gotta laugh. I'm so sorry. But
That's funny.
as
I have
fuck.
another Travis
I think
story.
all of us, he would have said the same thing too.
So the first rally I went to was like 2000. I want to say 2006. It was the first gen that Travis was driving the Hawkeye STI, and he is such a nice, humble dude.
Oh, he's awesome.
He talks to all the fans. Like, he has a hard time breaking away because he's so nice. He can't get away from like clingy fans, or people trying to eat his food. But so this guy in front of me in this like lineup, he's like, "Hey, Travis. Hey, man, I've been wanting to meet you ever." He's like a fucking stan, an M&M stan.
Oh yeah.
He's like, "Hey, man, could you take a picture with my baby?" And
Whoa,
Travis is like, "Yeah." So he holds this guy's baby.
Whoa.
I was like, okay, like I don't like holding babies, It's like,
Yeah.
okay. So he holds the baby, takes a picture. Then the guy's like, "Hey, man, yeah. So have you gotten my emails?"
Oh my gosh. What?
And Travis is like, he had some cop out, like, "Oh, I changed emails. It's now this." Or he tried to like politely say no.
Yeah.
Go
And
fuck
then the guy
yourself.
calls him out. He goes, "No, it's been sent to you. Use that one. I know."
Oh wow, he's digging deep.
Seriously. And Travis is like, "Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't check my emails. I got people for that.
For real." So then I step in. I'm like, hey, man, nice to meet you." It's like, holy shit, dude. Get away
Calm
from this
down.
guy, please.
Yeah.
Come on, Stan. Let's go, buddy.
The double backflip was cool, but like, leave him alone, dude.
The whole time he's holding the baby, he's like, "Oh God."
Exactly. Then, actually, the first, not to date myself, but the first rally I went to, Dave Mira was there. Another RIP. Very
Big
sad. Yep. Dave Mira, that was a sad one. And now Ken Block. But me and one of my best friends, we've been going since we were, fresh in high school. And so I love rallies. To me, hands down, the most intense form of car racing there is.
Oh, 100%.
Motorsport.
Yep. It's just so intense. The rules are so cool. The cars are amazing. They're fun to spectate. I have unlimited amounts of stories about rallies I've been to, and stories, I could go on about that. But so rally definitely is events. Car brands, that's a tough one. I mean, I'd have to break it down to categories. American, I'd say Ford.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, V8.
Grant just came.
Yay. I'm here.
He put his clothes back on.
Now I will say this: I love the 5.0. I love a lot of Ford motors. I'm an LS guy. Obviously, I put it in my Volvo. You can't
So
compare.
do all four guys.
Exactly. You can't compare with the LS. But Ford styling, history, I have to go with Ford in American cars. Japanese, I'd say Toyota. I mean,
there
hands
we go.
down. Hands
So
down.
you're pandering right now.
To each person in
yeah,
this group.
exactly, yeah.
No, this is me.
Oh, you haven't
Is
hit you haven't hit my thing yet.
The Fiat?
No.
No. The costume? The role play? I can't know which one to pander to.
Dude, I'm not even gonna help him.
I'm a little worried. Should we cut the mic? I don't know what he's going to say.
Maybe we should just mute him.
Let's
Just him.
go through other brands and we'll
Okay.
see if we match them up,
So, American, I'd say Ford is the top, unless you're talking V8s, then Chevy. Italian, it's going to be Ferrari.
There we go. See, I'm wearing all red.
I do.
I
I
mean,
can't tell what you're wearing.
No pants, that's for
Ferrari
sure.
made sense. His name's Vinny.
Yeah.
Well,
Vinny Gambardella.
I will say I respect
Sounds
Lamborghinis.
like a freaking meat that you get in a deli. Gambardella.
You can get it. Yeah.
So I want to own a Lamborghini,
Uh-huh.
but not a car.
A tractor.
I want a tractor.
Oh, I
That's
thought you
fair.
wanted my kit.
It's tough.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I want one.
So that's the thing.
It's a flex.
I mean,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Lamborghini versus Ferrari is interesting to me because Ferrari, I don't like that they do that thing where they get mad at people for modifying their cars.
Yeah.
Yes.
You bought the car. You
It's
don't have
their
to play
car.
this strong arm. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Lamborghini, you see guys with fucking no bumper, twin turbo, pink bubblegum wrap car flexing on TikTok, and they love it.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
do. Yeah.
I saw one on the freeway coming down into Oregon.
Oh,
not long
really?
ago. Yeah, the pink one that
Oh,
with the
okay.
roof rack and
Yeah.
the
Oh, yeah,
bumper.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the one I was envisioning.
Looks like
you
a
know?
Safari.
Yep.
Yeah. It's sick.
Fiat can go fuck themselves. I mean,
Yeah, no, I am 100%
Yeah.
on that.
I just worked on a Jeep Rubicon on a weekend on a side deal, and that was the worst 2 nights of my life.
Older Fiat's very interesting.
I like older Fiats.
Fiats, yeah.
You know,
I do
same
too.
with Alpha. I mean,
Oh, old Alphas are sick.
you want to talk cool brands? Alpha has some really cool history. I won't go into that. That's a whole podcast in
Yeah.
itself. Japanese's Toyota has the win. I like a lot of
Their
old
chassis,
Nissans.
their motors. Come on.
Exactly, their
Everything's
reliability.
superior, yeah.
I will say I've
I
owned.
do like Nissans. I
I
like them.
I like
But as far as Japanese cars, Toyota wins.
exactly. And pre 2000s Nissan is the only Nissan I'll talk
100%.
about, unless you're talking a GTR, which is still valid. You know, but
Coming from a guy with an 07 HR.
sorry,
pretty funny.
2000s, whatever. Honda, I have a soft spot for fun, reliable dailies. You can't beat them.
Yeah.
I'm not a Honda fan. I'm not a racer. I've owned a lot of Hondas. Every time it was, what car can I insure cheaply, drive fast in the canyons, never worry about maintenance?
Miata.
Super fun. Very valid. So I love Honda in a different way, but I'm not a Honda guy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You wouldn't full out build a boosted Honda.
Unless I had 10 other cars in front of it that I could build, I wouldn't.
Okay.
So is that include the engines? Like if you had to swap a Honda engine into something else, you'd be like still not touching it.
Well,
I have a mad respect for like the J series. I have a J35, K series. I've had a K20. I love them. I would do an inline K24 swap.
on a rear drive car?
Exactly. Any day of the week.
That's what we were talking about doing to a second Fiat.
Yeah.
See that I'm all in.
Mid-engine, little Italian car, lightweight, with a little Honda motor in the back.
Just a rocket ship.
Yeah,
out
that's
of-
sweet.
Absolutely. There's a question later
That's
on that
triple the
I'll get
horsepower.
into that.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know if that answered that
It
question.
does. No, that's good, dude.
But favorite cars? Fuck, I mean,
just give us something off the rip. What's the first thing you got to mind?
well, there's a future question, the dream car.
That's right.
Well, don't go.
So that-
hold
don't
off
go
on
dream
that.
car.
So then,
But favorite cars are Mustangs. He's going to jizz again.
Yep. Yep.
Even though I've never owned one and I don't really care to own one, they've always been a favorite car.
you ever driven one?
Honestly, I don't. I've been in passenger seat many.
Okay,
times.
we're gonna have to give you the keys, to Liger.
We'll
I love
fix
that,
it.
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, Liger is a hoot and holler to drive.
They've
Yes,
always
she
been my
is.
favorite. It's just the timing hasn't been right. Even though STI Subarus have completely changed over the last few years. I mean,
I
again,
don't like the new ones.
No, and-
they lost their
No.
appeal.
to me after the Hawkeye, I still love the hatch. I love the
I like
the
the
2011
09 hatch.
11 to 14 was amazing.
and I love the new one.
the all wide
It
body
looks.
ones.
I love the STI up until its last year. My main problem with Subaru is Subaru has become the Honda of the '90s. When we were
Wow,
kids,
It's good.
when we were kids, every person wanted a rice out of Honda.
Yep.
Loud exhaust. Now, WRX has become the Honda of the '90s.
All right.
Every kid has a WRX. It's all riced out. They're all vaping. They're all,
What was that supposed to mean, Vinny?
Well,
I mean, you had to point at me, huh? I mean,
so I
You
love
did
them.
just have a pink vape in your mouth a second ago.
I love them, but I only love them
wait
for
till
their.
they get the video.
I love them for the roots of rally and a unique car. But now they're
Yeah.
kind of overdone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say those are some good ones. Every car. I mean, I'm so obsessed.
There's
with so
nothing
many cars.
Italian on there.
He might get
I mean,
to that
he
later.
Might
went,
get to
he
later,
went
okay.
Ferrari. He
Okay.
touched Ferrari.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I was going down countries for brand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's kind of like I have an opinion.
So you're not a Volvo guy, die hard.
That's the thing. I'm really not.
Oh wow.
I love
I'm
my
not
Volvo.
super brand specific either.
I'm not either.
That's the thing. I love every company.
My friends would argue that, but
Yeah, that's true.
based on what I've built, but I'm really not.
No, I love every company has had killer cars. Every company has had flops. They've had their eras where they're golden. So it just really depends. You know what I mean?
100% agree with that.
Yeah, I do too.
Well, then,
And I think the truck and the car eras are different.
yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Trucks, dude.
Well, then I was going to say, touch on Ian's question he was going to ask. I think it's a good time to ask that one. About if you didn't have that Volvo starting out, what would have been your brand loyalty to swap to then first?
That was kind of alluded in the beginning because I said if it didn't work out. Honestly, after being in Ian's IS and always wanting to do an LS swap, I love the idea of a modern car with modern creature comforts with an LS. So that being said, being a Z fan, I love the idea of a Z32 LS swap because you can use their 5-speed. It has the room. You have the modern electronic windows, the great chassis. If I didn't do
and
the
they're
Volvo,
great looking cars.
they are, and the reason why they never caught on like the Supra was because of reliability, and I wouldn't even say it's the reliability. I'd say it was the difficulty of maintenance.
Yes.
The motor is the Z32 phenomenal. The 3.0 is amazing,
It was the
But
NA.
and the turbo.
Yeah, but they were hard to work on, like you said.
That's the thing. So the reliability was there, but the ability to maintain, and that's where cars fail. Is if you can't, even if it's reliable, if you can't maintain it, it won't be reliable.
Yep.
So those were a gorgeous car, amazing chassis, but they fell short. So that's one that I'd love to do an LS swap. I
agree.
would still consider doing that.
Yeah,
and
I think
keeping the
those are
Volvo,
great looking cars.
You know,
They were ahead of their time. I mean, I read an article probably in the last 6 months that was like about the stuff they put on that car. You know, there was active suspension. You know, just things that were ahead of its time. It was overbuilt,
Yeah.
oh, absolutely.
and it's like for the price point that it was at the time was shocking.
Mm-hmm.
But when you put all that crap on a car,
Right.
In
In a
the
tight
90s.
engine bay.
That's
And
weight.
it's weight, and it's just like nobody wants to put that type of maintenance and work into a 1994 Nissan.
Isn't that also what made like the VR 3000 fail? Like,
Yeah, the VR4.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's another great car.
Gorgeous.
I thought so.
Technologically
Very
advanced.
heavy though.
Yeah.
It was almost 800 pounds heavier than the Z, but active aero, just cool things that everybody's
it
implemented
had
now.
4-way steering too.
Yeah,
On set-
all-wheel
yeah.
steering,
Yeah.
yeah. And all-wheel drive, and it was front-wheel drive bias, but it was still 60/40 at the time. That was a shocking good.
Right.
I mean, that was good.
I will say to that question though, part of me leans towards, if I didn't have the Volvo, a 90s car like a 300ZX, the IS. I always wanted an IS in high school. But then the other side of it goes more towards more old school, more gangster, a Lincoln Continental, you know, just a
The reverse
badass
door.
Oh yeah, the suicide
rear
doors.
Yeah.
Just a badass cruiser with a power plant behind it.
Yeah.
A reliable powerhouse, not made for performance on a track, but just you can cruise reliably with power. Or an old Ford. I love the old F100s, F150s, the old Rangers. I don't know. I mean,
No Explorer love?
I'm not a huge Explorer
See, Rob was
fan.
right. No one loves Explorers.
Dude, are you kidding me?
So I
Grant,
saw
stop.
today on Facebook
Dude,
Marketplace
stop it once.
an old Bentley,
Uh-huh.
not a Bentley. Yeah, a Bentley, like an 05 Bentley. They're like 30 grand
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
in running condition.
Right.
So if you could find one of those that had a blown motor and drop an LS in it, dude, that'd be a score.
It would be cool, but you know the thing about like the IS, and that's the only example I can give because that's the only car I've swapped an LS into. It's like, you know, they have a body control module, you know, where the windows and everything are all controlled by the body control module, and you just put power to that relay block, and it all works as you want. Well, a lot of these cars don't have that.
Exactly.
A lot of these cars, you need to run CAN interface and crazy shit to make
But we
it
have
all
a
work.
whole episode that talks about that with AI.
We got a friend.
We do.
Man. We got a
yeah,
friend.
we got a guy. We do have a guy.
Monia would hook us up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. He
Smart
knows what he's
dude.
doing.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's like, that these are all things to consider. And the reason why I
Absolutely.
swapped my car to an LS, I'd never had a V8 swap car, and now I'm glad I do. But it's just like, these are all things to consider. And
Of
like
course.
the 90s cars, the early 2000s cars, they were super easy to do that in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we see so many of them now.
Exactly. That's why I'm like either 90s or old school,
Yeah. And then old schools, that's a whole different thing. Of course you can make that work.
Exactly.
Nice, dude.
Mm-hmm.
What's your next plans, bro? For your cars? What are you going to do? Do you have any plans? I know we talked about brakes.
Yeah, I mean, immediate with the Volvos brakes. That's this winter.
How big are those going up to?
They're, I think, like 3. I think the ones I 10 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
Not so. I have Brembos off of a V70R Volvo. That was the original go-to big brake swap.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you have to run a minimum of 17, and not all 17s fit.
Mm-hmm.
On a body like that, 17, 18 can start to look a little weird.
Like off-road, kind of weird.
No, they just look donked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Donked? What do you mean?
You know
The
what a
donk's
donk
like
is,
a big
right?
wheel car.
Like when
Is
they
that what it means?
Yeah. Like like the Impalas with like
Like
the
24.
20.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
It kind of looks donked.
Exactly, and that car just doesn't fit that style.
Okay.
So the big brake, I went with the Willwood for clearance, and the STS guys will swear on their life that you actually get better stopping power than the Brembos. They're smaller. You can use
Lighter.
exactly. You can use the factory master brake cylinder instead of upgrading. A lot of guys upgrade to a Mustang brake booster. I want to tune the suspension. I want to lower it a little more. It's not perfect right now. It looks really good, but it could use a little more aggressive lowering. I'd love to eventually redo more of the interior and then do the body, kind of a full resto on it, kind of. As far as power, like I said, that would just come with if I could gain traction and durability in the rear. Other than that, I mean, I'm loving it. It's
Perfect.
and I love how it is now, even with the kind of patina look. It kind of fits the sleeper bill,
Yeah.
As far as the future goes, the Volvo's a forever car. That one will be in the stable forever. The next swap I see would actually be for my girlfriend. Her father owned a lot of Morrison Garage MG when she was born. He passed early on in her life, and the car collection was supposed to go to her, but it didn't because she was a child.
Wait a minute. MG stands for Morrison Garage?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that just blew my mind.
See?
I never knew what MG stood for.
Grant, we're learning.
Exactly. So her dream car is a MG Midget, which are still an affordable sports
car.
car convertible. They're British, so they have their problems, but that's a car that I'd love to do a K series swap. Or
That'd be a good candidate.
Is that a front wheel drive or rear
No,
wheel?
Rear-wheel drive.
It's a rear
Yeah.
roadster.
I think I would do.
You'd want
What's
a
the-
lightweight four banger.
What's the Honda S2000 motor?
the
an F.
F20
Yeah.
or F22.
Well, the
Yeah.
K is basically the same thing. It's very, very similar.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed, I think like cooling ducts and shit like that. They designed it for a rear drive, but it is so similar to a K series.
It is very similar, and the K is much more common, and
Yeah,
and
you can get
cheaper.
the Ks from a junkyard for nothing, and now everybody's using adapters and everything else. And there's intake manifolds for rear drive setups. I mean,
Yeah.
it's endless now. So the F would be, it's a great motor, but it's just like why when you can get a K series and do the same. pretty much the same thing.
exactly.
Question. You guys care if I go on a random tangent real quick?
We knew it was coming.
I know it was coming because we just talked about the MG. I just realized 60s, 70s, even early 80s, the same type of car existed. You had the MG Mini Midget, you had the Spitfire Triumph, you had the Fiat 124,
TR7.
the TR7,
Alpha Spider.
the Alpha Spire.
Austin Healey.
Austin
Sprite.
Healey. Do they do any racing where it's those cars? Because
They
you
do
can
now.
get them
They
so
absolutely
cheap
do.
right now, and
They do.
and they're all like the same. Can
Yeah,
you
they're
imagine
very
just
similar.
My
a
uncle-
field of the same cars but
Oh, they
different?
do it. They do it.
What's it
They-
called?
There's
It's
like
something-
British
some
racing
retro.
class or something. British retro or something.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh yeah, dude. There's tons of it. There's tons of it. My uncle has a
Four-cylinder
Austin Healey
class.
Bug-Eye Sprite,
Mm-hmm.
and he's had it for years, dude. And I'm not a giant fan of it. It was actually the first car I learned to drive manual in. which
It's
was
cool
fun.
to watch, though.
Oh no, and
Yeah.
when it runs right, it's a sweet little car.
That'd be cool to kind of see that because it's, you got all these convertible front engine real drive cars and it's just a field of, but they're all different. You
Yeah,
know,
but very similar.
very similar,
They are.
you know.
And they're gorgeous cars.
yeah.
I think so too.
They just
I
lack
love
in,
a good
in
roadster.
reliability.
You remember
and
the Nissan? What was it? They had a 1200 and a
the Fairlady.
1600.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Fairlady, but it was a
Yeah.
roadster.
Oh, I wanted one so bad in high school.
Those were sweet,
Oh yeah, they're gorgeous cars.
and it was like competing with
Still
those
an
cars.
inline 6?
It was an inline 4.
inline four.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
The 1600, I think.
you
They made an 1800 too, I think. Big one. It was 1000 even, I think. I'm
yeah.
gonna pull
Oh
it
yeah,
up.
they made quite a few
Yeah, they
engine
made
sizes.
a bunch of sizes. Yeah.
You were going to say the F series swap from the Honda.
Yeah.
I told my girlfriend the other alternative is, again, kind of similar to an LS. 302, the 5.0
Yeah.
fits.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheap.
Define cheap.
Yeah,
They're
sorry
inexpensive.
for older 302s.
Okay, okay.
Not the modern.
Not the
5.0.
Coyote.
Oh hell no.
Okay.
So for an older 302, they fit pretty well, even in the MGs.
Okay.
And that was the original swap for the Volvos too. David Letterman, I believe, has a famous Volvo that was 5.0 swap T5 5-speed manual. So that was a big swap back in the day.
Does the 351 not fit in there really well?
It's the same block.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It's the
asking. Because
same
wouldn't that
block.
be better than the 5.0?
I don't know. I'm not huge on them. It was just a really common swap at the time for the price, and they bolted up really well.
Yeah.
So I told my girlfriend, I would love for the custom aspect and the reliability to do an inline Japanese 4-cylinder. Plus, you don't need much power in those
Yeah,
cars.
I know.
Yeah.
But I said it would
And-
actually be cheaper and easier to do like an old Ford 302.
Well, you know what else was a cool roadster too, and it kind of what you said reminded me of is the Sunbeam Tiger.
Yeah, that's what I was about to
I
say.
love the
That's one of my favorite
you know
cars.
why I
ever.
liked these cars so much is because the rear end on these
Yeah.
ones were so much longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it looked almost like a old T-Bird or something, kind of
Yeah.
funky.
I
but
actu-
you could get one with a V8.
Exactly.
I had a buddy that actually built a Sunbeam Minx
Oh, the
okay.
Minx
with
yeah.
an FC20.
That's sick.
That's
Yeah.
badass.
I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast or not, but actually, when I was in Wyotech, I sat down and I was just drawing a car inevitably and just came up like hours spent on this interior, different angles of it, front and whatever. And I showed my teacher, I'm like, yeah, I see this. I spent all this time. Look at this car. And he goes, I've seen this car before. It's like, I don't know where, but I've seen this. And I'm like, really? Like, I've never seen it like that. I was trying to come up with something that was retro cool. Comes back next day, he goes, that's a Sunbeam Tiger. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. And then he pulls it open, same picture Ian shows. I'm like, that is exactly the car I just drew. I've never seen one before.
That's awesome.
You know?
Dude, that's a sign, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do want to get one.
They're so
But
sweet.
they're getting
So,
expensive now.
Oddly enough, is when I went to Tigard High, not far from here, for 2 years, and I was in the auto shop program for 2 years, and we partly restored a Sunbeam Tiger.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude, it was so cool.
That is cool.
351 Cleveland. They swapped to Cleveland.
They put
instead
a
of the Windsor.
Cleveland in
yeah,
it?
it was
Wow.
sick.
Freaking wide ass block.
Dude, it was huge. I mean, it barely fit. Like,
For our
literally.
listeners, the original ones for the Tigers was a 260.
260,
and
yeah.
then they upgraded to a 289. And Carol
This-
Shelby was behind the team.
Right, this was
for
a
that.
289 car originally, and then there was a 351 Cleveland in it when it left the shop.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That was kind of like part of the reason what sparked my shit in the cars, because I
Oh,
was just
yeah.
like, dude, this is sick.
Yeah.
We put this giant motor in it, we cut to fit, we made it work.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about, and then in a tiny little roadster too. That's cool.
So don't rule out a 351 Windsor out of a old Ford pickup that you can pull all the intake stuff off of and put a 5.0 intake on.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Probably easier to come by, huh?
cheaper too.
Way cheaper.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then put GT40 heads on it.
There you go.
You don't need to do that.
All right, Vinny. Well, we've talked about your other projects. Favorite driving roads or locations? Where do you like to drive, bro?
Oh,
Talk
man.
to us. I've seen you drive, and you scare the fucking shit out of me.
Oh, don't even start
When I was
there.
driving at a drift event, I had you go drive me to pick up parts. And when you on the way there, I literally wanted to die.
I've never seen this guy cry so
wow.
much. And I'm like, I'm in a 2011 GMC Sierra.
Yeah, I think that's debatable. It's 2008 Chevy Silverado, but it's an inside
That's
joke.
that's a different story. I felt like I was driving like I normally do, and he's fucking grabbing the old shit handle and screaming, "Dude, please slow down, please slow down!" I'm like,
In a
bro,
truck,
bro, this is nothing.
full size pickup.
I'm not even losing the rear end. I'm like,
Yet.
I'm like, dude, I'm strapped into your drift missile all day, and you don't hear me crying.
Let me put this in perspective for the listeners. I'm literally drifting on track all day long, and when I get in his truck, I'm scared shitless.
Vinny, Ian, I feel like you guys, through your dynamic you're doing now, is the exact same thing that me and Jeremy go through when I'm driving.
So I have no problem when he's on track. We giggled going sideways through a fucking finish block. But when he drives a big rig
Like an excursion.
on
Right.
a
That's what I'm
back road,
saying.
I'm like, fucking slow down, dude.
Dude, seriously.
This is stupid.
No, I know.
Well,
Vinny's like, don't you want your parts, dude? Fucking let's go, dude.
I felt like I was
I'm
toning.
just getting there.
I felt like I was toning it down for him already, but I love. Oh man, I just love obviously any mountain curvy road. I grew up on a farm, so a lot of gravel, a lot of dirt. So I love driving on gravel forest roads because you can just slide around and drift so easily. I mean, it's a totally different feel than the street.
Yep.
Now I'm very confident on gravel. And go ahead.
Now, I would have been fine if I was in the driver's seat doing that.
Of course, that's how it always is.
It is. That is how it always is.
But on this, I'd say one of my favorite drives is, man, I can't think of the name of the street right now, but it's on the way to Mary's Peak outside of Philomath. Oh, Alsea Falls Highway
In Oregon.
in Oregon. It is so banked. There's so much contour to the road that you can get so aggressive and it just hugs because the road is canted so aggressively. And that was my favorite motorcycle road too until I wrecked on it. But that's a different
Shocker.
story. Yeah. But in a car, it's like you can just totally haul ass. And I
Yeah.
love that road. There's little traffic. I'd say even though I'm trying to get into drifting and I love getting a car sideways, my favorite style of driving is just super spirited, aggressive mountain carving. That's where I feel like my skills are more so. I mean, the other day, even with Ian, he knows I'm not phenomenal at drifting. You know, he's teaching me and showing me some tips, but I was getting on it and went around some vehicles and the rear end came out, but I corrected it no problem. I mean, that's because that's the driving I'm used to is aggressive, spirited driving. I'd like to get though more control and a controlled drift continuously, that'd be fun. That's kind of a skill I want to hone.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's...
I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
Well, it's coming up next season.
Hell
He's
yeah.
going to be out there with us.
Hell yeah.
That's right.
Okay, Vinny, this is a good one. If you could have any car, what would it be and why, dude?
Any car, hands down, no price, maintenance,
Yeah,
anything.
none of that.
The second gen GT40, hands down.
The 0506 one?
Yep.
Very nice.
Hands down, to me, the sexiest car ever made. The rear end is so aggressively squatted and wide, and the tires are like 315.
335s, I think.
335.
Yeah, they're insane. It is just such an
massive.
aggressive looking car. It is so small in real life compared to pictures. The whole story of Ford versus Ferrari with the original GT.
That was a great movie, by the way.
Oh yeah,
100%.
There's no car to me that is sexier. The lines of it, nothing has ever encapsulated my.
One that's very retro looking.
Did you?
It is.
So, history. Did you guys know that the second gen Ford GT, because they've tried multiple times
Yeah, I remember
to
they did
redesign
they did
GT.
the V12 one in the 90s.
Yep, they did
Yeah.
GT90
That was cool.
and they did
I liked the
GT70.
90.
So when it came to the 2005 one, Ford was trying to figure out how to do it and how to reinvent the wheel. And they came up with an idea. They're like, well, what if we had the race car and just had down the road? That's what we need to do. They said, why don't we do that? So the second gen GT is, God, was it 2% larger in scale than an original GT40, and it's all based off the original GT40, like all of it.
Yeah, I think it's like 44 inches instead of 40 or 42.
Exactly. But they're like, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We have the wheel.
Right.
It works.
Exactly. No, and it did. And I agree. I think it's a gorgeous car. I do love the third gen as well.
The
I love
third
the
gen's
third gen
amazing.
with the winglets on the
flying
B-pillars.
buttresses.
Yeah,
Yep.
dude, I love that. I thought that was such a good touch. I'm not gonna say that as far as supercars, hypercars, whatever you want to call them, that they weren't a real contender. They definitely were.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
lot of people will say, "Oh, it's kind of a piece of shit," but I loved it.
We almost added a Ford GT to the family stable this year.
Oh,
Almost. Yeah. Old man.
Who would
Still not off the
who would
table.
inherit?
Still not off the table. Yeah. Old man.
He'll get one
He keeps
eventually.
debating. Like, he wants one. He always talks about one.
Well, am I written in your will yet?
Yeah, no
Maybe.
shit. You got room for one
You
more?
got room for one more.
But it's weird because like him and people with money who look at the Ford GT that aren't like diehard Ford fans, right?
Right.
But they love the car. The biggest argument I hear from not just him but everyone else is, do I want to spend that much money on a Ford? Like back in the day when they were new, it was 150 grand for one, and people are like, that's insane. Why would you spend that on a Ford?
Right.
They're now at 375 to 500
Yeah.
something grand, and 375 is not bad. But when they start hitting 400, people are like, I don't know if I want to spend almost $500,000 on a Ford.
They're not gonna
And-
go down,
No,
though.
exactly, and
No,
that's what I
exactly.
keep saying.
Imagine the
I-
investment if
I
you bought
still
one new.
feel like that car is $1 million car, and the only reason
It
it's
will be.
not
Oh,
is
100%.
the only reason it's not is because they made about 5,000 of them, which is a lot in the supercar world.
It is.
You know?
It's a ton.
But what's
Right.
nuts is you can get, say, if you went out and bought a Ford GT with, 5,000 miles, that's about 400 grand or so. But you can go out and find one that's been plastic saved in an air bubble with 22 miles for 500. You never hear about that. The low mileage, barely 8 mile cars, they're like nearly 100 times the cost.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
that's true.
But it's weird with the Ford GT, like they're kind of up in value in terms of that.
But you could get pretty much a brand new one
Yeah.
for, 100 grand more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, at that point, might as well. If that's what you're after, if you're in the
Right.
market for that car.
I would be in the market to drive that fucker, and
Oh, yeah.
I just love
It's
the
not a trailer queen.
the
No.
interior's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love that. The only thing in front of you is the tack.
Yeah.
And then to your right, cockpit style, it contours around you, and it's like your oil pressure, this and that. And the last thing you see is your speedometer.
Yeah.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
like, don't care about your speed. Focus on your RPMs, your oil pressure, your temp. Who gives a fuck about what speed you're going? And I love that car. They're just,
That's
then you
interesting.
got-
they're just gorgeous.
And they
Yeah,
got
that's
those little
cool.
toggle switches. Click.
Yeah, it looks
click,
like a helicopter,
click, yeah.
And the new one is amazing too. I love the retro styling of the and the V8, the supercharged,
Yeah.
I think 5.4. The new one's cool and the engineering's amazing, but
I really wish they put the D8 in the new one.
I do
me too.
Yeah.
We all do.
Could you imagine if they would have put a 5.2 supercharged, Shelby motor in that?
I would still take the second gen,
Yeah.
but
But I'm
I
saying
agree.
that would,
I mean, styling wise, the new one is shockingly good.
And I think that if it had a V8, it would give surprising. It would give it way more of a high rapport and respectable
As
prestige.
opposed to an EcoBoost.
Exactly, yeah.
I agree. I totally agree. What are your top 3? I really want to drive it someday. Cars.
vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles. It could be, and that's bikes too. I know you're a bike guy.
We changed
Airplane.
that because
Boats.
trucks, cars,
Boats.
tanks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pamela Anderson.
I don't think you can drive her. Also, I think she has hepatitis.
Yeah, she's getting a little up there, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'd say vehicle-wise, I mean, I don't think anyone could ever debate that a GT3 RS or a GT2 RS around a track would be one of the most phenomenal driving experiences you could ever have. So that would be up there.
So that's a car you want to just drive, not take home.
Oh, I'd love to take it home.
Well, so would I. But
That's
I'm
the
just
thing.
saying, is there a car? Maybe, let me start that. Is there a car out there that you would want to drive and not take home just to have? Or I don't know.
You know, honestly, the older I get, and I wouldn't say I've ever had a car collection, but I've had multiple vehicles. Unless I was a multi-billionaire, like having multiple vehicles, the older I get, is more of a hassle. So I would love to just drive a million different cars. I've always loved I've loved just driving basic cars, whether it's a Dodge Neon, a Crown Victoria. I always loved growing up saying I've drove that. I can feel the dynamics, you know. I love adding to my list of cars I've drove because all cars are different, you know. But as far as specialty vehicles, like, oh man, nothing handles on the track like a Porsche. I'd love to drive a high-end Porsche like that.
Like what? We talking a 918 Spider? Or we
The
talking about just
GT3.
any Carrera?
GT3 RS.
GT3 RS,
Oh, they're
GT2
insane.
RS.
They're insane.
You know, that would be the ultimate.
See, I'm the same way. I love Porsche. I think they're incredible cars. But then I start thinking about stuff like Singer,
Yeah.
you know, and I start thinking about stuff like Roof. You know, it's like I want to drive something like that where they do like the ultra lights.
Right.
Like,
Yeah. Oh,
then
the
you're
Singers
just
are
putting it on
insane.
yank.
Yeah.
Like literally, like they shaved 1,000 pounds off it,
Right.
and it's the same car
Oh, yeah.
with a better motor. It's like,
Yeah, it's an NA Boxer 6 with 400 horse with it weighs
5.
2,000 pounds.
yeah, and they freaking gusseted the whole chassis.
Absolutely.
It's like that's nuts to me, and it's cool that Porsche demands that. Like the Porsche people demand something like that. There's a there's a product or a market for that.
The problem I have with those is, as great as those are, is the price. I mean, I understand the performance you get into, but when you're talking about $2 million cars plus,
Right.
Which is like the best you can get for a 911, which is fantastic. But then you compare it to other cars of the same spec. You know, if you're looking for the driving
I agree.
experience and stuff like that, is the extra 100 horses worth it?
I
Is a
think,
lightweight worth it?
it's more of like the fact that they're like so much more analog than a $2 million Koenigsegg.
Right, with all these driver assist, and that's where this question, just like the dream car, I'm taking objectively where you're stripping away cost, maintenance, all those factors.
Yeah.
You know,
Bless you.
I mean, I'm trying to think of what other. Obviously, if I could fly like a jet, would be badass. You know, as far as motorcycles, I mean, I've ridden really fast bikes that are up there in the top fastest bikes.
Tomahawk.
The V10, the Viper, production bikes.
That
You
was
know,
That's
But-
so Dodge.
Oh, it's so
oh yeah. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I can't really put any. I just like driving. I like driving slow cars. You know,
Same.
it's just the experience of driving a car to say you've drove it. You know what it's like. So that one's a tough one. I might. Have to
Well, I mean,
think
we
about
all
that.
say like driving a slow car fast is more fun than driving a fast car slow.
Absolutely.
I mean, and that's I think we can all agree on that.
yep.
Like, I love ringing out a 80s Corolla, rear drive
yeah.
Corolla, like with the twin cam. Like, there's nothing
Just
like
make it sing
Yep.
and go.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. You can't replace it. You can't buy a car like that today. It's just not possible.
Well, we've talked about, like, on my end, like, when we're family and me, we're taking out the Ferraris, I will take the older Ferraris because the experience is just more involved.
It's all
It is
mechanical.
involved.
Yeah,
it is
than
involved.
you would be with a newer one.
Oh, Vinny, what's your favorite Ferrari?
Oh, the 355.
Oh,
Okay, good choice.
To me, the 355, like, and maybe this is because my age, it is the most iconic Ferrari look.
I agree.
Some of the new, I mean, I love the newer models.
360 was good too.
Oh yeah, 360 Modena, the 430,
Yeah, it was very
gorgeous. But the 355, if I close my eyes and someone says Ferrari, that's what I picture. And that's probably because when I was born.
Yeah.
But
Period. Correct.
I do have a good Ferrari story
I want to hear it.
if I have the time.
We got
Yeah,
plenty of time.
So my career I got into because of a Ferrari. And I work on
Wow.
elevators just like Ian.
Mm-hmm.
I met a guy that had a car collection when I was probably 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew I loved cars. And he said, hey, come out sometime. I have an airplane hangar and it's filled with cars.
Is this my dad?
No.
Seriously, though.
And he says, I'll come show them to you.
Yeah.
Come check them out. I guess I had to have been at... I think I'd seen the cars before I turned 16, but at this point I had my license.
Mm-hmm.
But we went out. So he had a Ferrari 308 GTS.
Nice.
Another one of the most gorgeous Ferraris ever.
Agreed.
In my opinion. Compared to modern specs, absolute dog. I mean,
Well,
a Civic
of course.
SI from 2010 would beat her on a track.
Yep.
For sure.
But for, as far as gorgeousness
and
just
feel.
exactly.
Yep.
So he had one. It was red, tan interior. He took me for a ride. We leave the airport hangar. We go to cross an intersection and it dies. Right in the intersection.
Mm-hmm.
So I hop out and I push him into a parking lot. He's like, what happened? We look. It's empty. There's no gas. He says, I'm going to go home, grab a gas can. You wait here and wash my car.
Mm-hmm.
It's Albany, Oregon. There's a bunch of homeless people. Everyone starts kind of crowding around this Ferrari.
This just zombieing.
Yeah, just checking it out. Well, all of a sudden, my dad drives by and sees me.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't know I was there. He pulls over, and my dad, being who he is, he goes, I leave my kid with 5 minutes with my car, and this is what he does. You know, pretending it's his Ferrari.
Yeah.
The owner shows up. We take it to his house. Keep in mind, again, I'm like 16. I rode my bike to his house with my bicycle. He drove me to the airport hangar. We get his car gassed up, back to his house. We find out that there's a fuel line. It's like a 4-inch piece of line leaking. And that's why the gas had drained out and we ran out.
You guys are lucky there was no fire.
No doubt.
Yeah, I know what you're
Exactly.
talking- yeah.
So
Wow.
he's sitting there in his garage. He's like, I mean, this hose is so tucked in there that there's no way to get to it without almost pulling the engine.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat there and I was like, I'll be right back. Give me an hour. I'm going to ride home. My dad has a tool. I think I can get that off.
Mm-hmm.
He had this pair of needle nose pliers that was about 3 feet long. It articulated in 2 different points, and it was cupped at the end 4 hoses.
That's cool.
So I rode my bicycle all the way home, grabbed that tool, came back, got the hose off, got his new one. He had some generic, fuel line hose, got the new one on there. And he's like, oh my God. He's like, you just saved me from pulling my engine. He's like, well, you fixed it. Do you want to drive it? I'm 16 years old.
Fucking A right. I guess.
I've driven
Yes,
like
sir.
5 cars in my life, in
Yeah.
a tractor.
Do I suck your dick now or later? How does this work?
And after driving 5 cars in a tractor, that thing felt more like a tractor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The clutch was so heavy. The
Yep.
gearings were first is down, second's up,
Dog leg.
gated. Yeah,
Dog leg.
Exactly. We drove around, and it was really cool. I was sweating my balls off. So nervous about driving this car, but it's just like such an impressionable memory. And
Nothing feels like an old Ferrari, does it?
no, not exactly. Not even my grandma. But that's another podcast.
I'm hoping that's a car name.
Anyways, so he says, hey, when you get older, you should work on elevators.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, interesting. Fast forward years later, I was riding a motorcycle. I saw him, and he's like, hey, you should go apply. And long story short, that's where I got into the career I'm in now. But that was a super pivotal moment where it was like,
That's cool, man.
yeah,
That's really cool.
total life-changing moment and a really cool story. And so the 308 GTS is gorgeous. The 355, which he has now, he sold the 308 and got a 355 Berlinetta.
Interesting.
And he told me I can come drive it.
Nice.
I haven't done it yet.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to
Yeah.
be awesome. So
That's sick, dude.
I've driven a bunch. We own a 94 348 Special. It's the
Okay.
very last one they made, only 15. very similar to 355,
Yeah,
and
it is.
that is my favorite car of all time.
Oh, I bet.
You know, just nothing like you rev. Those are cars you want to rev all the way to the moon to really
Yeah, but
get.
it's a handful.
Yeah.
It's not like you can daily drive that car.
Yeah, no, but
No,
like,
it's
but
not.
if you're just driving it to experience,
Oh yeah, no. If you're pushing
it's
it,
so
they're
fun,
awesome.
You
They're
know,
amazing cars.
But it's the other thing is like they're also go on the road because they're not so quick where it's unfun.
Right.
You know, and that's why like to get that engine that high up and just to clack clack through
And
the
listen,
gears.
It's not a Carrera
listen to
GT.
no,
Yeah.
it's not.
Life or death if you touch the wrong
Yeah,
percentage of
exactly.
throttle, you know.
Yeah.
That's how,
agree.
you know, that's in the bike world. That's how Ducati was looked at for a long time, where you have these Japanese bikes that outperform in reliability and ultimately power.
and feel.
Exactly. But the Ducati, when you get on it on the street, you know you're on a race bike.
Yeah.
You can't let out the clutch in traffic or else you're idling at 30 miles an hour, you know.
Yeah.
It's hot as hell. You're burning up. It wants to just be on the racetrack.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of other brands, I guess, for my point, that's the only thing I fault Porsche for. I love Porsche. I think they make one of the best cars ever made.
Me too.
But I do not respect the fact that they make a common man's Porsche.
Yeah.
Because the average person who's not a diehard car fan will see a Porsche Boxster, be like, "Oh my god, a Porsche, cool." Well, it's like, what? That was $8,000 on Marketplace.
Right.
Yeah.
No one will ever say that about a Ferrari or a Lamborghini.
No.
It doesn't matter if it's the most unpopular model.
Absolutely.
Oh my god, that's a Ferrari. They never made an introductory model for like the average man.
But it's funny you say that. I mean, like the
Well,
Boxster,
now, more so.
the Boxster is that, right? Like we all know, like you could get like a 2004 Boxster right now
Right.
for $10,000
Yeah.
or less.
Yep.
It's gonna need a ton of work, but we could all probably do it ourselves. That's beside the point. But then you look at a 2010 Cayman, and why are those $35,000?
Right.
It's the same as a fucking Boxster.
yeah.
It's just got a hard top, and people are like, "Oh, that's a freaking that's
And
a
the styling.
Because it's got the limited
it looks like a
LSD in the
Carrera.
back and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I know, but it,
Yeah.
you know, it looks more like a Carrera.
Right.
So they're like, "Oh, I agree."
But then you also go to the older Porsches like the 944 and the 924 and
Oh yeah.
Nobody loved the front
914.
drives except for the 928s. Nobody liked a front drive Porsche. The 928s were sick because it was a V8 and a flip up or flip over
Not
headlights.
all of them were.
No, they weren't. No, there was six bangers too, right? Yeah, there
Well,
was.
944 is a turbo 4.
I'm just
So it's
saying.
rear wheel drive.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
saying they
you
were
know.
all any front engine Porsche was rear wheel drive, but
front engine. I'm sorry.
yeah, front
I
engine,
said front
like
drive.
like the 928.
Right.
That was like the one that people accept still
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the Porsche community, which is weird to me.
right.
But like the 924s, nobody wants those, dude.
I had a 924 for.
I'm not saying they're not great cars. I'm just saying like people
it's a
didn't like
Volkswagen.
it. Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Exactly.
Like I don't like a 924. I don't. If I was gonna get a
I-
9 series, I would get a 94
turbo.
I had
If
like.
I was getting a 9 Series, I get a 914.
I'd get a.
Well,
911.
yeah.
An old
No, I'm just saying, like,
70s 911.
Let me say front drive.
Oh, God.
Front
That's a
drive.
whole
Let me
nother
get
topic.
a front drive Porsche
Okay.
Yeah.
thread going here. It's not going to be a 924.
Here's a question to
It's
ask
going to
you.
be a 944 or a 928.
Here's a question to ask you then. What about the Panamera?
I love
hate
them.
The 4-door?
I
Yeah.
love, you know, which one I like? The shooting brake. So they made
Mm-hmm.
the big long hatchback one, and then they made the short cutback. Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
Dude, those
I
are
hate 4-door
badass.
Porsches.
Well, dude, no.
Personally.
Pull it up. We got to pull it up.
It's weird. Like
There's
it's
2
exactly
years.
what I see.
They only
I see
made it
people
for
who
2 years.
love it, and I see people who hate them.
What I hate
It's-
about it, what I absolutely hate about it, one I loved it was a V8. That's badass.
Right.
What I hated about it, they never put a manual in it. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Search shooting brake. Panamera.
I can't do the.
Shooting brake. No, I'm telling you. Look at this, Vinny. This might. I've seen them in real life.
Is that the orange one?
Yeah. No.
No. I see
Go to
brakes.
Images. Oh,
Oh, there it is with the hatch.
dude. Yeah, but it's the sloped hatch. The other one has the long
Can't do it.
round hatch.
For me, that just looks like you took a Porsche can and just chopped the top off
Well,
and lowered it.
let's
Yeah.
go forward.
Yeah.
It looks like an Audi
Punch it up.
all-road.
That's
No.
what.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a very flattering picture, okay? But
Okay.
I see what you guys are saying. So
I guess my point is you
keep going.
it's kind of again the concept.
Look at the
of
next picture.
If you're buying a Porsche,
That's a good looking car, dude. I'm sorry.
oh, it's a good looking car, but it's not what I want. In
It's a
Porsche.
front engine
It's-
V8
it's
rear-wheel
kinda like,
drive
why
with a
would-
massive amount of power.
It's kinda
got
like-
560 horsepower with the Turbo S. That's
to me,
badass.
it's kind of like, why would you buy an SUV Lambo or an SUV Ferrari?
oh, stop.
Exactly, but
Oh,
that's my
stop it.
But here's
Stop.
But
it,
here's my
Jeremy.
question: would you ever buy it?
Would I buy it? No, I would take it for free.
Exactly, that's my thing. I mean,
Yeah, because I'm not going to spend 90 grand on a car that looks like that without a manual.
what would
If
be-
it had a manual,
Yeah,
I'd consider it.
Then what would be a good price for those cars to be at?
I mean,
40.
if it again going back, if it had a manual, and I was filthy rich, I would probably spend 60.
Are you
grand
positive
on
they
it.
ain't come with a manual?
I need it with a
check.
manual.
But-
They
but to-
never came with a manual.
It'd be better with a paddle.
but to
shifter.
me,
They never made a 4-door Porsche with a manual, except for the Cayenne.
my problem is even if it did, there's other 4-doors I would take. If I was going to buy a 4-door, it would never be a Porsche. That's
facts.
my main
true.
thing.
That's true.
I
I mean,
love it
of
as a-
course, I want a Carrera or Cayman.
Exactly, and I love it as a car. It's a cool car. It's kind of like a '70s Mustang.
Go ahead. Grant.
Okay, so I'm looking at the
Since you've
the
got your
forms.
hand raised,
You may go potty.
It says the manual gearbox was manufactured only for 4 years, from 04 of 2009 until 04 of 2013, and was available in the Panamera V6 rear-wheel drive, the Panamera S, the V8 rear-wheel drive. A total were
Dude,
made
you're shocking my mind.
in a total. They manufactured.
What country?
Hang on, 146 vehicles with 6-speed manuals.
Okay.
Theoretically,
106
or sorry,
of them.
therefore,
Okay, so let me reiterate.
50?
America,
yeah,
USA.
I don't know if this is USA or not.
It's not.
no, 146.
So
total.
you drive the clown
the
car
world.
if
Yeah,
it had
100%.
to.
There was 50 V6s and 96 V8s.
Okay.
But what's
That's dope.
what's
Yeah.
also, here's the thing. Think of this.
But
no,
do we know European or what?
doesn't matter because
It does matter.
No, listen to me.
You can get the trans somewhere.
Because
Of course
No.
you could. I'm not trying to carry the cross.
I'm saying it doesn't matter because Porsche has such a back catalog of parts that even if you had an old Panamera, you can buy the parts to convert it to a manual.
But you might
Sure.
have to
Yeah.
get them out of Europe.
but I'm look, I'm talking about what was available in the United
Crucify
States.
him.
I mean, that's what they're doing here. And look, I'm talking about what was able to purchase in the U.S.
Yeah.
I promise there was no manual Panamera here.
I guess
Look it up.
at the end of the day, my opinion is this is just my opinion. Badass car,
And if our fans could correct me if I'm wrong, please.
badass, good-looking car. Never would have an interest in owning one.
No.
Never,
I get it.
and that's where my opinion lies.
I agree. I would much rather.
I take a CTSV.
I would
manual
rather
wagon
have
over
a
that.
Cayman GT4. Like, as far as low price, good Porsche,
Right.
a Cayman GT4s are badass, dude. Badass.
I'd rather have a '76 Volvo 242 manual. LS.
Really? You?
I'm just
You fucker. Look, I'm just saying, for Porsche, not a bad car. Not a bad car.
Okay.
They made worse.
I'm saying for Porsche bad car, for car
The
good car.
Macan? What the fuck? It's a Volkswagen SUV.
Sorry, we're talking about audio stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all good.
All right.
No, it's fine.
Well,
We can
I've
fix
talked enough about Porsche.
And how much you love them.
I honestly do. The older I get, the more I do love them. But this is not about me. It's about Vinny today, Mr. Vinster, the Vinster.
The Vinster.
Okay. What's your hard no, bro?
Oh, I mean, PT Cruiser,
Oh my god! And he's never even heard the pod.
Prius. I
You've
mean,
never heard the
Are you
pod?
sure you've never listened to it?
Yeah.
Dude, that
Are
was
you
the
sure?
first thing I said.
Wow.
I'm
No
like,
way.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
That's fucking
this has
awesome,
been
dude.
discussed.
Fuck yeah.
This has been discussed on this pod at length.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, dude. Chad said it.
No
I
way.
said it. Now you've said it.
Yeah, I
and
said
who else?
it. I said it.
You said it.
I was the
Somebody
original.
else said it. Yeah, you
Dude.
said it
We've had
before
a-
I came on.
That's fucking awesome.
We need to make a list and go through and see all our guests hard no and just
It's
see.
a PT Cruiser.
Yeah.
That's
me-
hilarious.
I want to put a shirt that says Untitled Car Project Hard No PT Cruiser.
Seriously.
What
That's funny.
was the question a few weeks ago that Rob brought up? It was, would you rather drive a PT
Oh,
Cruiser
yeah.
and have all your friends see you do it, or
$1 million for a day or something like that.
yeah,
And I was like, God, that's
You know what the best one is, Vinny? Have you ever seen this? You know they made Woodies, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Did you know they made a Woody convertible?
absolutely, dude. I've seen them with moon hubcaps, fucking full moon chrome hubcaps. 2.4 turbo though.
You could get
Manual.
them in a turbo and manual,
And manual.
dude. That's
And-
the best part.
No, the best part is they have a drawer underneath the seats.
Really?
They have a
Really?
drawer, like a fucking dresser drawer, comes out of the
That's where
bottom
your
of the
pistol
seat.
goes.
Your pistol, beer,
It's-
drugs,
fuck,
ammo.
dude.
ammo,
Cocaine.
It's for your
mirror and
for your
straw.
for your spear. It's for your spare plastic intake.
Holy shit!
Full
guys.
plastic manifold in the spare.
Yeah, you need spare parts.
So I had a roommate.
Is it in both seats?
Yeah,
Wow.
a drawer.
What car was this?
PT Cruiser.
PT Cruiser.
No shit.
Okay, so I've actually they've gone up a notch now.
Okay.
I
They're right above an HHR now.
It's a,
yeah. Well, the HHR had the SS.
no, the SSR was sick. I'm
Yeah.
gonna die on this hill. Chad said the same fucking
Oh,
thing.
I agree. They're cool for what they are.
6-liter manual.
Yep.
Rear wheel drive. Coupe truck, and yes, they look like shit, but at least they had a
I just
GTO chassis.
I
Yeah.
just saw one the other day, and what's really funny, for story's sake, I was a door to door salesman for a bit.
Sign
And
Cutco.
God damn it.
Something
I'm not
like
gonna.
that.
I'm not gonna get into this
No.
part of.
I would drive this one.
Oh, the HHR.
That's a SS for sure, right?
Oh yeah, dude. Man, that's like the.
Yeah,
the-
but it was still front drive. Wasn't it basically the what's it called? What's the one?
Cobalt.
The Cobalt SS.
Yeah, just
Okay.
like the Neon SRT with
Yeah.
the,
I mean
SS
and what was that Dodge they made that was from
the SRT4, the Caliber.
Caliber. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Vinny's got this down.
Yep,
He knows what I'm talking
I
about.
grew up with a lot of shitty cars. Yeah. So, they're kind of a door to door salesman. This is unbelievable.
Okay.
You won't even believe this.
Okay.
The truck was the SSR.
Yeah, SS. No, that's the SSR. truck.
SSR, right?
Okay.
I'm a door to door salesman. I didn't like to use generic approaches, so I try to relate to people. And I see this god awful red SSR in this guy's driveway, and I hate it. I hate that fucking car.
Oh my God.
If it wasn't for the power plant, that would be my choice. Or I think a PT Cruiser is better looking. Right? And I think you're less of a boomer to drive a PT Cruiser than that thing. Right? So I'm trying to make a sale, so to speak.
Okay.
And I say, hey, man, I love that SSR.
Oh.
And this guy
And you didn't.
literally, yeah, no, not at all. Ultimate boomer, like New Balance, tall white socks,
yeah. Shorts
mowing his
on.
lawn. He goes, instead of just saying thanks like a normal human, he goes, oh yeah? Check this out. Pops his garage door open, he has a fucking yellow one. So, I swear to God,
He had more than one?
two.
Oh my God.
So out of all the cars in the world, you're investing all your ducks into two SSRs?
He had a third one in the back.
He probably did. What's next? What's next? The Prowler with the matching trailer?
Oh my God.
The fucking Plymouth Prowler matching trailer combo? 3.6, whatever. Holy fuck. I didn't want the sale at that point. Listen, dude, you've had enough. You've fallen for enough sales pitches in your life. I'll move on.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
You're
Vinny.
retarded. Aren't
Vinny, too.
you? Did you just turn around on your heel and roll out? Or
Oh, I remember it was just like, nice, dude. Like, what do you say? At that point, I couldn't fake it anymore. You know, I'm like, I'm just like, oh, I like what? I think I was in awe. Like, I don't even
Old
remember.
boy opened the garage and went, fuck.
Wow, same car but an uglier color. Holy shit! It was crazy, dude.
Worse, but God damn it, you did it.
If his wife would have driven home in a third one.
Honey, they came out with purple. Please, let's refinance. I need this.
I'm buying a new one.
Holy fuck, dude.
We're getting our 5th one today, honey.
That's. I really think that's his retirement plan. Oh, babe, someday this is going to be worth more than the house. He's probably.
Did they go up and down?
Well, I will say this. Thank God that's been in Reno, Nevada, because he's probably gambling away whatever he sold that for to make up for his retirement. You know? That's his gambling fund now.
I'm going to have to look these up and see what they're valued at right now.
Okay, Vinny.
I can't imagine more than 30.
You gotta
my
stop
God.
now. You gotta stop, dude.
I need to breathe.
Oh,
I
that
think
is
I
so.
peed my pants a little bit.
The picture you painted was just perfect, dude.
The funny thing is, both of those cars are on the screen.
I have a question. I know I've talked a lot, but can I tell
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
one short story?
Oh,
Of course, we got time.
It's not car related.
That's fine.
all right.
This is still door-to-door salesman related.
Okay.
Okay.
This kid that was again, the whole story would make a lot more sense, but I don't want to publicly put on the information what I was actually doing. This other kid that was doing door-to-door sales in Reno, let me paint this picture. He's walking past a house, and they have got the big front yard. They got a dog in the front yard, a dad on the porch with his son. Oops, sorry. The dog has a cast and is limping around the front yard.
Okay.
The son is physiologically, it's obvious he has Down syndrome.
Okay.
You can tell, it's apparent from his appearance. Not trying to be rude, but you can tell.
Yeah.
This kid says to the dad, talking about the dog, "Hey, excuse me, sir. What does he have?" The dad says,
Which one?
"He has Down syndrome." And the kid goes, "Is he still a good dog?" I swear to God, this happened in my life. Right around the same time as the SSR.
Did you quit right after
Yeah,
that?
pretty much.
Oh my God.
I'm like, dude, no way.
Nope, I'm
Is he
out.
still a good dog?
We still that guy drove a PT Cruiser.
No, he had 3 SSRs.
And he was 150 pounds overweight.
I just wish I could have known what was going through the Oh, fuck.
Sorry, everyone.
It's all good.
Oh my God.
Man.
Is he a good
Okay, we're going off the hard nose because you have a ton of shit here, Vinny.
All right.
Oh my
Grant.
gosh. Yeah.
Project car update.
Not a whole lot.
Okay, not a lot. Okay.
I've been sick for the last for a week or 2
Yeah,
weeks.
everybody
And finally,
does.
it's my first week back.
Yeah,
know?
I had a lingering cough for
And
2 weeks.
as much as I've been wanting to work on it, I've been this week adamantly just prepping for SEMA.
Oh, yeah.
For our listeners knowing, this is our last show before we head to SEMA on Monday.
Hell yeah.
Monday.
Yeah.
Today is
so
Wednesday.
it's been just going on Amazon, ordering stuff, getting bags packed, getting equipment checked, getting ready for, the big day.
It's gonna be so freaking fun.
We need to also contact previous guests soon to see who's meeting up with us when we're there.
Well, I'm gonna make a post on the Facebook page. I think that we've had a ton of good responses on there from previous posts. So I think that's gonna be like the hey, we're heading there.
Yeah.
You guys just
Jesus.
encapsulated
Sorry.
SEMA. We're doing last minute stuff. We're trying to finish our builds. We're ordering tons of Amazon parts.
Bluetooth
Yeah.
drive shaft.
eBay parts galore.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's awesome. I wish I could go.
Vinny, have you looked at Project Cars for Sale recently? No, we want you to go, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Next year, Vinny.
Friday's open to the public.
Oh, that's sick.
It costs a lot.
I'll be in Hawaii.
Mm.
A lot of money.
I'm never not looking at
And I'm not
project
even
cars.
going to be there.
To answer that question, I'm never not looking at project cars.
Mm.
I know.
And that's the thing. Some of these questions were hard because once you have one, you want the other one.
That's why you
Oh,
have,
man, and
that's why that guy had 3 HH.
yeah, exactly.
SSRs.
I'm constantly looking, and yeah, it's a never-ending addiction, man. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to look all the time. That's what sucks.
Anything cool you wanted to see?
Sorry.
Or wanted to buy?
Well, now that I'm in a spot where I know I'm not going to buy one, my favorite thing to do is look up it's kind of like I know what I have. Guys that are asking too much for a shit box.
Mm-hmm.
So my favorite thing to type in on like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace is super rare. You type in super rare and see what cars pull up, and if you
That's
laughed
nice.
hard tonight, you will. You'll see a 92 Honda Accord, ultra rare 5-speed manual. Are you sure? Because every kid in my high school drove one. Ultra rare Dodge Caravan wagon. You know, only 50,000 made in Forest Green. How is this ultra rare? I'm just curious. And so do yourself and look up just look up rare on Craigslist. And me and my buddy, that's like our pastime, dude. It's amazing what you find.
so funny, Vinny.
Oh, god damn it.
Okay, have you seen anything cool car related news or anything like new car coming out or anything this week?
Why are you whistling?
Don't whistle. Don't whistle, Grant.
Don't do what you just did.
Grant, never whistle.
No.
What are you doing?
That's what.
Oh, did you have something?
No, he did not.
No, I got stuff that I'm having Jeremy pull up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
After you, of
Yeah.
course.
I mean, honestly, a lot of car news nowadays is more depressing. It's like, let's go electric. Let's cancel all the cool shit. You
Less
know,
manuals.
Ooh, I forgot there's that too.
I will.
Thank you.
I will say that I've really enjoyed recently. There's been a couple manufacturers that are basically saying
opening a video.
No, I ain't sending videos.
they're basically saying fuck this. We're going back to what
We're
we were
abandoning electric.
doing.
Is that what you're
Exactly,
saying?
and
Yeah.
and I personally love to see that as
Me
a car
too.
enthusiast.
Toyota was actually the first to do it, which I really, really appreciated. Porsche now,
Yep.
they said we haven't sold enough of these. We're not going to do it, and we're not going to invest in it. Chevy has backed off too, and they've said we're not selling nearly enough of these. Ford, I think, is the only one that's like been sticking with like we're going to go electric. And these,
No, they're backing off it now.
or they have. Okay,
Yeah.
so pretty much all major manufacturers.
Yeah. Thank God.
And thank God it's like Porsche and Toyota has been like, okay, we're gonna do alternative fuels,
Right.
which is what should have been. 'Cause
Exactly.
We can create alcohol, right? We create ethanol by just making alcohol.
I can create alcohol
Can't you?
off of my bloodstream.
We know.
There's a bottle of vodka right there that we can power the car.
I haven't had some in a while.
I'm saying though, like if what is it called? What is it? E80, E90, whatever. Ethanol. We can run cars off ethanol. That is alternative fuels. I keep seeing this weird shit. These manufacturers saying, "Oh, we're gonna do alternative fuels." What do you mean?
Right.
We already have it.
Yes. Just diversify it.
E85 is alternative fuels. You don't pull that out of the ground. We make it.
You know the original diesel motor? I think I talked about this before. The
could
original
run off
diesel motor
anything.
was designed to run off of corn oil.
Yeah, corn oil, used cooking oil.
Yeah.
I mean, you could put
You can
anything
use
in that thing.
Rapeseed oil now.
I'm
is what's-
saying.
they're using
And a lot of
for
that stuff,
biodiesel.
and a lot of that stuff is a byproduct of manufacturing.
Right.
So that's the best part. So to manufacture certain plastics and shit, the oil that comes off of it, what's left is like pure rapeseed oil or pure soy oil or whatever they're using.
Right.
It's like, why wouldn't we use that? We know engines can run on it. That's insane.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's a discussion for a different day.
Yeah. Different
Because-
podcasts in general.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to fit on GCP.
So
awesome.
I got some new stuff. I sent Jeremy a link on Facebook for it. Not the marketplace stuff, Jeremy.
Not this one?
No. So
What is it?
so there's two things. The first one,
because that's your max.
huh? Well, yeah. So the first one is that Scout's coming back. So
As electric, bro.
well, hang on. I got things to say about that. So Scout's coming back. It's being made by Volkswagen apparently.
I'm gonna go.
Oh, this is getting worse.
I'm gonna go take a shit.
So
Gonna wipe your Scout and take a Volkswagen.
two things. I actually do like the body that they're going with because it does look classic retro kind of Scout, like the Scout 70 Scout.
No, it looks like every other retro.
It looks like a Rivian.
Yeah.
It looks like a Rivian. That's
I actually like the body
So-
style. I'm not sure if I like that it's
They,
electric.
there's
Me too.
there's
I
two
like-
types of
I'm not sure if I
there's
like
two
it. I
types of
hate it.
powertrains you can get with this though. So one's a pure electric car, truck, whatever, and they're also making a pickup version of this too.
Of course they are.
The second one they're doing is a plug-in hybrid, where the engine only is to charge the batteries for the electric motors.
No, I'm good.
I just thought it was interesting.
I'm a little better with that.
See, I know, and look, I appreciate that at least they're being able to give people a certain amount of range.
Yeah.
How many
But the-
miles does it get?
I know, I just sent you the article. It's right
probably
there.
600, I'm sure.
I
but
do like the styling. I was joking, but I do like it.
Look.
I would LS swap it.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, do you think you'd even be able to? There's the diffs are not. They're motors on each
Right.
wheel.
Exactly.
It's like I want nothing to do with that.
You'd have to take
There's
the body
so
and
much
set it on
tech.
something else. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so much tech, whereas a differential is so much easier.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't even want to deal with that. And I'm sorry if my listeners or our listeners want. I'm not a purist of I'm open to new tech, but how much tech goes into these? And then I see the bills for a rear crunch fender bender on a Rivian, and
Yep.
it's like $60,000.
$1,000. Yeah.
Dude, I don't want nothing to do with that. I want nothing to do with it. It's insane.
The extended range is 500 miles.
500 miles with the extended range.
Yep.
Okay,
But that- yeah.
That's not more than
get
my
this.
GMC.
But the other thing,
Get this, I get the Baby Max diesel in a Yukon on a 2022, and I can go 600 miles.
Right.
but here's the thing is,
And I
it's-
fill it up again, and I do it again and again and
But
again.
the
and
thing
again.
with that, which is nice, is it's a plug-in hybrid edition, meaning you can just put gas into it. So you get all the benefits of electric motors and the speed, but you
That's-
still have a gas motor in
Hold
to
on
take
now.
you as far as you want to go.
That's
you
the
have to
EV
charge
version.
it too.
That's the EV version 600.
That's the EV.
That's
no,
not
350 for the normal and 500 for the extended.
And you still have
okay,
to charge
but that's
it.
not including the plug-in hybrid one, because the plug-in hybrid you don't have to.
That's different.
Yeah,
I don't even want to charge it.
you don't have to if it's gas.
No, it's not gas. It's a plug-in hybrid. You still have to plug it in.
No, you don't.
Yes, you do.
Well, you do kind of.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it depends on the
You-
depletion range.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
if you plug it in, you get more range out of it than
So
if
you're
you
telling
just
me
fill
that
the
range number you're telling me is bullshit.
No,
unless
no.
I charge it and fill
tank. That one is just the EV.
it. Okay.
Just the EV version is 350 and 500 for the extended.
Yeah.
But you know that's gonna not be the case in cold
No.
or hot
No.
weather.
No.
Oh, cold weather? That range, you might as well, cut a third off.
Yeah, I
of
was
it.
going
Yeah.
to say a third.
I'm
yeah,
good.
at least.
it-
I'm
See-
good, dude.
If you put a trailer behind it, doesn't matter what it weighs, cut it in half.
The other thing that makes me excited is because it's Volkswagen, that their parts and availability tends to go with other vehicles. Like it goes into different,
Oh,
you know.
right.
And so this makes me
It'll be
excited
cheap to work on.
if this technology will be put into the new Volkswagen bus. Because
yeah,
the
the
new
EV
bus is
bus.
only
ID4.
electric, but having a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid powertrain in, I think would make that give the bus a reason.
Yeah.
Because that bus has such short range, it's not really good for longer trips like the old bus was.
It gives me a
It's
13th
not
reason.
It
you
just doesn't excite me at all. And
Yeah.
and I'm sorry, and I haven't gone this out of pocket before on the pod, but I am gonna go this deep this time. Nothing excites me about electric cars right now. There's nothing about it where I'm like, oh man, that's sick as hell, except for the Spearling. What's that little car that they bring to Goodwood? Pull it up. Spearling. Speierling.
Can you use
Look
that
at
in a
this.
sentence?
Dude, look at this thing.
Let me see. Spearling. And
Car.
That's a fish, dude.
That's not how I told you to spell it either. Look
It looks like a Pagani.
dude, it's so small.
the cockpit
And-
looks like a Supra.
Bro, it's so small and wide. And
It does.
watch
look
this
short.
video.
It's
So
a
am I,
chode.
but-
pull up the video. Just
It's
pull it
a
up.
chode.
Dude,
Yeah, I was going to say, so am I, but I don't.
this has copped the Goodwood Festival of Speed record for 3 years straight. And it comes out
but-
and beats it. It beats its own time. It beats it.
I'm
Well,
not
don't type
watching
that in.
video.
Don't type that in, please.
Oh, there you
Well,
go.
here's the thing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, we're doing that.
Here's the thing. In the beginning,
Look, just the way it sounds, looks, and performs, that's the only electric
it's
car I'd ever.
electric?
Dude, it's so.
here's
It's
Ian
un-
says this until we go to see. He'd be like, my mind
It's
is blown.
ungodly, dude. Look at that. Just watch one. Just watch a video of the American Spearling.
There's a no climb. We'll mute it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I
You don't need to mute it.
I
It's
don't even-
electric.
yeah, no shit.
Probably playing on the fucking podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got political bullshit. Okay, yeah, that guy can.
Let's just watch that after the podcast.
No, I'm just saying. I want you guys to just watch the sheer rate of speed this thing goes at.
We'll watch it after the podcast.
It's ungodly.
Can you pull up?
Let me put it. That's the only electric car that I've seen where I'm like, holy shit, that
Yeah.
thing's breaking barriers.
Yeah.
So here's my thing.
And it sounds sick too
in the
for an electric car. No, it's fucking loud, bro.
That's
It's
because the
loud.
tires are spinning.
Yeah.
It's all of it.
Have you seen the Ken Block e-tron
Yeah, the e-tron
video?
Quattro. Yeah.
That thing was fucking epic.
It sounds like that.
Yeah.
That's how the Spearlink sounds.
That's the tires spinning.
Can you pull up the next news article I sent you, Jeremy?
So
No.
No.
Go ahead, Vinny.
So my thing is, in the beginning of the podcast, one of the questions was like, what got you into cars?
Okay.
And I was talking about the mechanical,
Can you check real quick?
how it's made is what makes it amazing to me. And engineering wise, electric cars make sense.
Interesting.
You have direct drive,
yeah.
instant torque, way less moving parts, but they're so boring.
Yeah, but everything's
calc-
made cheaply too.
Exactly, and it's a calculator. I mean, it's like,
Down lower. I just sent
this
it.
is boring. I want the sounds. To me, what makes it
Scroll down.
cool is the engine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
You have different engines. You have V6, i4s, V8s, V12s. So the whole electric thing is boring to me. It's just boring. That's sick.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
So
Is that AI?
So this is the second thing I wanted to bring up, and there's other pictures of it. Is
That's not a real concept, is it?
from what I see,
that's AI,
no, yeah. So this is a someone made the version of what a C8 Corvette would look like if it was a Cadillac Blackwing edition, and
That's pretty dope.
It looks amazing.
yeah, a lot of people are saying like this is what like
It's got Pagani hints too.
it's like a Lambo, like
Well,
more feel.
It's got Pagani hints.
Yeah.
Like the mirrors, how they're like bugged out like that.
And the ultra biased rear flare.
Yeah.
yeah, like this
Yeah, I
is
agree. That looks
If
like
you
a Pagani
deleted
wire.
that, you wouldn't know. What
like
it
you
was.
see this,
I
and
mean,
you could
obviously
see like
the taillights wouldn't look like a wire up, but
Yeah.
that looks like a wire
like
up.
you could see this, and you could see like it looks like a Corvette, but it's not. Kind of like, and that's what I like about this is when you see a Z06 Corvette, new one, it looks like still the C8. This Blackwing Cadillac that someone designed, it looks like its own car, its own version. Even the interior they went into.
Yeah, I like that. I do.
I think they did with good taste onto it.
I do agree.
So, but those are the two things I wanted to bring up in our discussion today for news was the Scout and then this concept that someone made.
Ooh, sexy Mazda.
That's really cool.
I saw this one
It's the
on the wall.
RX-9.
Yeah, I saw this one on the wall.
That's a real car. That's no
Not
AI.
yet. Not
no,
yet.
No, they have a concept.
They made one. Yes,
They have a
You have a concept. So
That's a real car.
I thought they hadn't named it yet, but this is the replacement for the RX-8.
Right. And it looks much more like an RX-7
Yes.
if you look at the cabin.
You're right.
Yeah,
Just
It's
the
so
cabin.
much better.
That thing
Yeah.
is sick.
I was at the Mazda dealership
And
yesterday
it's rotary.
and saw this, and I was like, God damn, I like that.
Are you kidding me? Who doesn't? You have to be a
Yeah.
fool. And I wish they would
Why
have.
does it look
I wish they
electric?
would have. No, it's not. It's a rotary engine.
God, I hope so. But
Well,
that
no,
front
they already
does not
said
look
it's
like it
gonna
has
be-
holes in it.
Look. So
that?
I don't
Oh,
like
yeah.
how they put the door handle there. They should have put it right back up there on the
Up
B
high.
on the B
Yeah.
pillar.
Why
Like
on the
the
B pillar?
R- because that's where it was on the FD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, look
Oh,
at
I
it. They
didn't
had
know.
shaved doors
Huh.
from the factory.
Wow.
And it almost looks like that could be a handle on the
Right.
B pillar,
Oh,
right?
yeah, easily.
So they could have just done the same thing they did on the B pillar.
Right.
It's fast.
Oh, they're amazing.
Looks fast.
It looks so much better than the RX-8.
Oh, that looks-
I wonder how freaking much money those are going to be, though.
Probably at least 80 grand.
Yeah, I was
So-
going to say 120.
This
with
this
the markup.
economy,
3-rotor.
it's a 3-rotor, yeah. Turbo.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Nothing sick.
Dude, they're gorgeous.
Mhm.
Vinny, you got anything? Nothing? I never have anything.
About
New
what?
cars, news.
No, not really, honestly. I mean, I've seen some cool cars in traffic, but nothing notable.
I got one more I wanted to put down if that's okay.
Is it
No.
electric?
No. And
Yeah, I
it's
was
the
gonna
something
say,
you were
nev-
talking about earlier,
If
Vinny.
you're going electric, we're done, dude.
No, this is about Ferrari. This is-
And end.
So there's a
And no AI.
there's a YouTube channel called StanceWorks, They're known for a 308 Ferrari build that they did that had a Honda motor into it.
Stance Works has been around for years, bro. They've been
So-
a blog for 15 years.
So the guy that's on that channel now, this video exploded this week. He's now doing a new Ferrari build, and with the 308, Ferrari's never really mess with them because we know Ferrari is so happy and they're very protective. Now his new project, he's kind of worried, and people are interested to see how this is going to go because now he's doing an F40.
Oh shit.
And that's the thing is he's not just doing like someone had to wreck Ferrari. He found new old stock of an F40 front end, doors, and rear end, and he's building from ground up. He's doing a full
Custom chassis?
custom chassis because he's like, it was a 30-year-old chassis.
Right.
That was, let's bring it to modern. Let's do this.
That's sick.
And it's going to be interesting to see, A, his build, how he does it because of technology, but B, it's going to be interesting to see if Ferrari goes after him because Ferrari is very particular about their supercars.
Right.
There was a billionaire who modified an F40 for an open cockpit because he wanted to drive it and couldn't fit in with that and chopped the roof off. And Ferrari sued him and made this billionaire remove all badges and remove it from the registration as a Ferrari.
That's crazy.
It's just
So
stupid.
the fact is, like, this will be interesting if a channel that's this big gets much traction,
Of course they will.
if
Look at
they're going to
Steve.
go after him.
Of course they will. There's not even a question. I don't think,
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah, they can't even go. They go after him if they just wrap the car a different color.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's weird because the 308 they never went after him, but again, that's a whole different thing. That is
That's
not an
old
F40.
shit. That's
and
old
and on
shit.
top of that, it's not a chassis number F40.
Right.
This is an F40 he's building from scratch, and that's the thing. It's
Tube
like,
chassis,
yeah, if this was
which
an
is sick.
yeah, if this was a Vin F40, and be like, oh, I'm doing this different thing. This is just parts that he's building into it, and they may go after him
So
just
it's like
from
a custom car.
yeah,
so
I don't think they have any ground to stand on.
I think the one person
I
that
don't
I've
think
ever
they should.
No.
the one person I've ever I didn't meet him, but that Ferrari should go after.
Mm-hmm.
Every Ferrari is cool.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter what model.
Agreed.
If you own a Ferrari, it's cool, right?
Mhm.
They did have some really weird cars in the 80s.
Which ones?
I don't remember the model names,
Mondial.
We've talked about the
400i,
Mondial.
but there's some.
I
really,
liked the Mondial.
Dino.
everything's
I
cool.
like the Dino GT.
But
Yeah.
they had some kind of ugly, weird 80s shit
Some people hated them.
that
I
didn't
liked
fit.
them.
I was at a Dairy Queen in Albany, Oregon, and all of a sudden a Ferrari pulls up. And we're like, oh, that's cool. I was like, that's an ugly Ferrari, but it's cool. Like, I couldn't recognize what model it was or anything.
It was the Mondial.
And at the time, it probably only cost 10 grand
Yep.
at the time, Cool. You still get cool points. You're in a Ferrari. Dude gets out. He's wearing a Ferrari shirt that says, yeah, ... It's a Ferrari.
Oh my God, buddy.
I'm like, bro, Ferrari
He
should
spent
sue
the money
you.
on the shirt.
Yeah, like you just lost any cool points by wearing that. But,
Jesus,
side
dude.
note.
So he bought the cheapest Ferrari and then
Yeah, just to flex it,
that sounds like Albany, Vinny.
Exactly. Yeah, I get it.
You got anything else to add, dude, tonight? It's been great having you on, man.
No, this has been awesome. I appreciate you guys having me. It's been a lot of fun, man.
We're not doing the marketplace things.
No.
We did. I mean, we kind of touched
No, we
on it.
did news. I got for sale cars. No, okay,
Feel it. Feel the room.
okay, okay,
No.
okay.
Feel the room, dude.
I didn't bring any.
Okay.
No, it's been awesome.
I
Thank
asked
you guys
Vinny
for
if he
having
had
me.
any marketplace finds, and he said no.
Oh, I said that. Yeah, never mind.
Rob's gonna hate you, dude.
I
You're
know.
not reading me.
Here's the problem. Here's the
You're
problem
not
with your
reading
car
me,
finds.
dude.
What?
The last time you brought some,
Yes,
bring 2.
I did.
No, you didn't.
There's only 2 on there.
You brought 4.
No, there's
or
2 on
8
there.
or something last time.
That was last time, and
We're
there was
done. You've used yours for the next 4 episodes.
Let's get there when we get there. But
Okay.
We gotta read the room.
okay.
Vinny, it's been awesome having you,
No,
man.
thank you guys.
Seriously,
for having me. This has
dude.
been great.
Yeah.
Let me guys know if you have any Volvo questions ever, or SSR questions.
We will,
Yeah,
and we want to remind everybody to please check out our socials. Maybe somebody can grab on the
Untitled
socials.
Car Project at Instagram, at Untitled Car Project at Facebook, and our Facebook group, Untitled Car Pro at X, and then we have Untitled Car Project on Discord. Join us on there. We're adding more sub threads and stuff on that one. Untitled Car Project on Threads.
On Threads.
And
yes.
Untitled Car Project on YouTube, as well as every other audio podcast available.
And again, I want to remind everybody we're going to SEMA next week, so please hit us up, message us, post on the page,
Send us an email.
and send us an email about what you guys want to see. We're going to be there. We'd love to look at what you guys want to see.
Send us an email at untitledcarproject@gmail.com.
Until next time, thanks, Vinny.
Woo!
guys.
Thank you, Vinny.
All right, have a good night.